their campaign for European glory. Now, 2 matches have actually been played already in the tournament, but this afternoon we're just concerning ourselves with Ireland and their first game, which is against Belarus. Now, Kenny Morris has joined us to give us the inside story. Now, Kenny, it's not so long since you were on the team yourself. Do you wish you were there?
Yes, I do. It's been quite a few years since I've played for Ireland, but being across at the ground, sampling the atmosphere, it seems like just yesterday my stomach would have been absolutely filled with adrenaline at this time.
And you reckon they're going to go well?
Yes, I'm really hopeful for this team.
Well, of course, if Ireland are going to go well, they'll have to get the basics right, as in score goals, but goals they have been scoring in the recent past.
This is Neil Cook. Canadians under pressure now. For the first time in the game, they're under a sustained period of pressure. Another good cross into the circle. Yes! And that is a splendid goal.
Canning free on the left. Goalkeeper committed. Still Canning. Canning chips it for Clark. Clark should put it away. Clark does. Superb goal for Ireland. Kirkwood stops. Taken in. Shot. And it's in. Taylor has made it 2-0. Dowd. It's 2 tackles. Opportunity here for number 3. The goalkeeper's off his line, and it's their first-class goal from Sloan, the captain. A nice thing to happen to Marty Sloan on the day he captains Ireland for the 100th time. He gets Ireland's 3rd goal. Dunn. Kirkwood with a chance. Kirkwood makes it 4. Well, a lot of skill involved there. Still McAnulty tries to pump it in. He does. And it's in. Brilliant goal off the stick of Clark. Again, they break early. Switch. Canning shoots. A poor shot. A chance for Clark to put it in. And he does. Justice was done, methinks.
Well, Kenny, that was the recent four-nation tournament, I think just 2 weeks ago, played in Belfield, and Ireland actually won it. Now, is that a particularly good omen?
Yes, indeed. Going into any tournament with a winning streak under your belt is very, very important. Ireland aren't used to that. The quality of teams like Holland playing in that tournament, to come away with a victory is something very special. So I think Ireland certainly have their tails up going into this first game.
Yes, they actually beat Holland a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, something I certainly never experienced in over 10 years of playing international hockey. The Netherlands quite regularly hand out a thrashing to the Irish team. That's not the case anymore.
So you reckon they may have put aside this sort of tendency to be there or thereabouts, but draw and not quite get the win?
Yes, indeed. There's always a danger, although having a lot of wins under your belt going into a tournament, that there's overconfidence. It's really the positioning of the team today that's very, very important, and how they play. I wouldn't get too confused with how they've done over the last few weeks. They'll be very quick to point that out.
OK, well, let's look at exactly what is in store over the tournament. The 12 teams in it are divided into 2 pools. In Pool A, there's Belgium, France, the Netherlands, Scotland, Spain and Wales. The Netherlands very much the favourites in that pool. And then in Pool B, Ireland's pool, it's Belarus, England, Germany, Ireland, Poland and Switzerland. Now, every team plays all the other teams in their pool, and then they play crossover matches to determine what eventual place they'll be competing for. So altogether, every team is facing 7 matches. It's a pretty tough schedule, and from Ireland's point of view, they start in just a few minutes, of course, against Belarus. Then they rest for a day, and on Friday they play Switzerland. On Sunday they have a really big one, that's the one against England. And then next week, on Tuesday, it's Poland, and they finish up on Wednesday against the firm pool favourites Germany. And then after Thursday's rest day, they'll have one crossover match and then their final place match. So in the pool, where do you reckon they're going to come?
Well, to put things in perspective, Ireland's best ever performance in the European Nations Cup was in 1987, where they finished 6th. I really do think that they're aiming for to hit the semi-finals this time. That means they must finish in the top 2 to get into the semi-finals. So that's where they're aiming for at this moment, I'm sure.
That's very tough, though.
It will be very difficult for them.
Right, well, let's just see what the Irish players themselves have to say about their opposition today, Belarus.
With the breakup of the former Soviet Union, nobody really knows what players from the previous side play now for Belarus, but they have had a lot of exposure over the last 12 or 18 months. They've played in the World Cup, which we haven't. We obviously didn't play in. They didn't let themselves down too badly. England only beat them 1-0, for example, and I'm sure they've if they had a long way to go when they started playing at national hockey, but I'm sure that they're quick learners, and I'm sure they'll be very difficult to beat.
Certainly, we expect Belarus to be very good. They're ranked 5 or 6 places above us in the world, and they were in the last World Cup. So obviously it's going to be a very difficult game for us, but personally I think we're ready for them. I think we're playing really well. The team spirit is superb, and I honestly think we can beat them on the day.
You don't really know what to expect from the Russian team. They're a very strong physical side, and they impose themselves on the game. We're just hoping that our defence is strong enough that we can be physically strong enough to stay in the match, and our forwards have the speed and the pace and the finishing touch to get the goals that should see us through this match.
Belarus are a bit of an unknown quantity. We don't know anything about them. We've made inquiries as to how they're preparing for the tournament, and it's really, there's no news on it, is the bottom line. So we just have to take it as it comes.
If we play well, I'll be confident, but it's up to ourselves to play well.
Well, now, Robbie Taylor said in there that they were a bit of an unknown quantity and that he knew nothing about the way they were preparing. In fact, nobody knows anything because they only turned up yesterday and they were extremely late. What sort of impact will that messing, if you like, have on the Irish team?
I think it was calamitous fiasco of a journey. They came down, got stopped off in France, couldn't get through England, had to come across to Rosslare, travel up. The preparation has been appalling. This has probably got to go in Ireland's favour. This team arrived late yesterday evening, has had 1 hour's practice on the pitch, has been travelling virtually constantly for 3.5 days. Ireland really should seize the opportunity.
But then on the other hand, it still didn't suit Ireland in the sense that there was always the possibility it wouldn't be Belarus at all. It would have to be first reserves Italy. I mean, did everybody really believe they would turn up in the end?
The former Soviet Union had a little bit of a habit of doing this, keeping people guessing over the years, so it's not a new thing to find this in a hockey tournament. They are always an unknown quantity. I would be prepared for everything here. I would like to think, however, that Case Koplar will definitely go on the attack from the off, and if he does that, I think we should see a good result.
I think it's a whole new definition of the term unknown quantity. Anyway, we'll soon know whether or not all the messing has made any difference, because it's very nearly start time. They're already at Belfield for Ireland against Belarus, so let's go over there now and join our commentary team of John Kerwin and Stephen Martin.
Thanks very much, Caroline. Good afternoon to you and welcome. Well, you both mentioned in studio that you weren't too sure you knew much about Belarus. Let me tell you that in the last 3 days travelling, they've hockeyed Belgium, and Belgium, as you know, are ranked higher than Ireland in the world rating. So the Irish boys in green have quite a match on hand this afternoon. There are the boys who've been travelling for 2 weeks by bus. A pretty arduous way to travel across Europe and eventually into Dublin, where they managed to prang the bus last night in Belfield, but they're all well. They were training at 7 o'clock this morning. They're hungry in every aspect, and for a view on how he thinks this game will go, a man who should know, he's played against most teams in the world, Stephen Martin.
Thanks, John. Yes, Belarus have had a difficult time coming across here, but not as difficult as some might think. As you say, they've had a good preparation in some ways, apart from the final part of their leg. They've played against some of the top European sides and put together some very, very good results. In Kolopov, they've certainly a world-class player. And for Ireland, they also have had a very good preparation for this afternoon. They've played numerous warm-up games and had some very, very good results, especially against Holland a couple of weeks ago. So they'll be looking to get a very positive start this afternoon, John.
They certainly will, and the sun is shining, as you can see here in Belfield. Memories of last summer when Ireland very, very nearly made it to the qualifiers for Atlanta. If the results go well these coming 12 days, Ireland's men could make it to the qualifiers for Barcelona next year and perhaps on to Atlanta. The Irish team have had their last little chat together. Big day for Ireland, big day for that man in the middle, Jimmy Kirkwood, the blonde who shaves his head for all the big matches. Now that's the man from Cork, one of 3 Corkmen in the squad of 16, 1 Dubliner, the rest are from the north. Now that's the Irish team, and captained by Marty Sloan, who today gets his 143rd cap. The Belarus team, the only man who knows something about is number 10, Sankovets, one of the fastest players out there as the game is on, and Ireland play their first match in the European Championships. And Kirkwood first as ever into the fray. Vincencevic and Kakar. The midfield ball, the unforced error by the Irish. The little nerves are jingling. Picked up on the left by Klimovic. Klimovic tried to be closed down there by Cook. And the Belarusians showing how agile and how anxious they are already. Ireland in their own circle under pressure. A lot of shouting, and there it comes in across. Taken out by the Irish sweeper. The Cork man Burns. Again, a corner. This is the start Ireland didn't want. Belarus again. Burns puts it trying to fight behind, and the free out for the ball had been raised. So in the first few seconds, the Belarusians came in great strength down the pitch in Belfield. As Clark picks up for Ireland down the right wing, finds the man. Alistair Dunn lays it off to Taylor. Taylor to Canning. Canning will cause problems for the Marko Djukovac number 2. Extremely agile is Canning, as you can see. Still Canning, he's in the circle. Reverse stick, couldn't quite make it. Good effort from Canning.
Yeah, certainly a very positive opening start from Ireland. The first attack, they managed to get right into the Belarus circle.
Yes, a good positive start indeed, but a shaky one for the first few seconds. Perfect conditions for hockey. 15 is Taylor, the man who scored twice against the Dutch. That was never done before by an Irishman. Cook, halfway line. 3 white shirts on Cook, still Cook. He's free now. Cook lays it on for Don. Don has a chance to score. Good goalkeeping. Looking for the penalty corner, and they get it. Botchkis did very well to get down to that, but a little unlucky with the decision. But the penalty corner to Ireland.
Yes, here we go. Neil Cook making a good run down the right. Alistair Dunn, and I'm sure Alistair Dunn will be very disappointed with that. All he had to do was raise it up the keeper's pads, but nevertheless, Ireland have a short corner,
which will be taken by Daniel Clark from the back line. Canning is poised to strike. Kirkwood, it appears, is poised to stick stop. And Taylor is poised to shoot if the stop is clean. Watch the sprint from the line. The stop. Taylor goes for the scoop. Good save again. A chance for Clark, but he skies it. Well, he shouldn't have done that. Clark was going backwards on his feet, but he should have got a better hit on it.
Yeah, here we see the push out and the stop, and at least Ireland have got something on target, made the keeper make a save, but on the rebound, unfortunately, Clark just balloons it over the bar.
Well, let's hope that's not a costly balloon. Sweeping, Kachikar to midfield, picked up by Barkov. The battle again, Haid on Klachkov. That's Vincencevic. 18th cap for him today. The scoop ball again for Clark, who's onside. Kirkwood calls for it in the circle. It comes to Kirkwood. Kirkwood dives. Kirkwood puts it wide, off the keeper. Penalty corner. Another opportunity.
Yeah, I think that's a set play from Ireland. Ball played to Taylor, overhead to the right wing, and Daniel Clark made lovely grind. Played it, and I think the short corner was given because the goalkeeper played it over the line intentionally.
Again from the back line. And again, watch the power of the sprint from the line. The stop from Kirkwood. Taylor, the flick, the run through, still Taylor. Hooked, picked away, taken out by Djukovac. Taken on further now by Zarov on the break. That's a good counter-attack. Barkov free on the left. Good tackle. Midfield, the goal scorer for Ireland against the Holland. Kirkwood can't trap it. That's Kirkwood, the man who got the gold medal playing for Britain in Seoul in '88. Now plays for Ireland and is committed to do so. So a bit of a press on, close marking. Umpire not happy, there were 5 yards. Vincencevic. Kirkwood gets a stick to it. Sankovic. Canning runs back in defence, as does everybody except Clark and Dunn. Sankovic again. Still number 10, the captain, Sankovets Nikolai. Canning elects to let that go back to the Irish sweeper, who will settle for a 25-yard hit. Five yards again. Quite a crowd here in front of our commentary point, basking in the sunshine and hoping for a good start to the tournament for Ireland. Touchdown there by Taylor. Kratchkar again. Nobody's 5 yards there, but play goes on.
Yeah, I think at the moment Ireland will be looking to try and get a little bit of control into the game. They haven't really settled yet, neither have Belarus for that matter, but they'll be looking to Kirkwood, Sloan and Taylor put their stick on the ball and just control the pace of the game and not try and get into too much ping pong with Belarus.
As Dowd picks up the ball in midfield, carries it over the halfway line, threads it through the reverse stick from Dunn, was intended for Kirkwood, but it didn't quite work out. So Ali Dunn, Cork C of I, the number 7, and that's his opposite number, Barkov. Again, the area ball to bypass the midfield. Dowd takes it down, sun in his eyes, but controls it. The Irish captain now. Clark. Still a little bit nervous, as Stephen said, the settling down period. Cook, not a man to tangle with. From midfield unmarked, Klatchkov looks for a striker, number 12, and very nearly found Mankowski off the feet. So he gets the free. That's good play. Now Ireland again with their backs to the Irish goal, on the toes. Barkov runs around 2 tackles, switches it through, looks for feet. The advantage is played. Chops, you can't do that. So free to Ireland. The Cork C of I man. Back to Dowd. Dowd wastes no time, but not a lot of direction. Kirkwood a little lucky to get the free. He was chopped. Game is coming faster and more physical, and certainly more skillful on the new surfaces. Bit of pushing, and racing away is Sloan. All on his own. Marty Sloan for Ireland. Has support. No support up.
Yeah. Certainly at the moment Ireland have got a little bit more control in midfield, but they still can't get a good quality pass to their forwards, and maybe the forwards are a little bit edgy. Martin Sloan certainly setting an example, the captain examples, and jetting a little bit of pace, but still that final pass to the forwards isn't quite working.
And there's a chance now, the missed clearance back in field. Canning should score with the reverse stick. Canning does score. Canning has opened the account for Ireland. Beautifully taken reverse stick. Vatchkis came out of goal, saw Canning coming at him, saw the reverse stick, the roll of the wrists, and knew he couldn't stop it.
Great example of Ireland taking Belarus apart here in terms of Belarus making a mistake, and if Ireland are to do well this tournament, they've got to take those half chances. Lovely goal by Liam Canning.
So Canning, the man who was, let's say, out of favour for a while last year, very much in favour, I would think, with Keith Coppler on the bench today. Another area ball for Clark. Clark shows the skill. Clark has it. Clark sends it back. In comes the attack again. Captain Sloan again to Taylor. Taylor has Kirkwood with him. Pulls 2 markers off Kirkwood. Switches it to Clark. Clark fires it across. Not enough venom. And that tries to get a reverse. Good move in there from Dunn. Full marks to Dunn. Corner forced. Quickly taken by Clark. And the umpire says, no, I wasn't ready.
Yeah, nice move on the right hand side. Daniel Clark getting the ball across. Actually missed times, but Alistair Dunn showing the sort of commitment, following up every single ball, and made the goalkeeper make a save.
As Kirkwood tries to dance into the circle. Cook beside him. Switched on surely off the feet of the Cork man. It was quickly taken by Belarus. And again that counter-attack. Sankovets, number 10. The Irish race back, but the Belarusians showing that they're fit. If not tired, they're certainly fit. Mankowski versus Haid. Still Mankowski sends it across, and Burns takes it out and pumps it away. Just about 10 minutes gone. That's Daniel Clark. Clark finding a lot of room, by the way, you've probably noticed. Free on the right for those lobs. They haven't quite picked him up yet. They probably will.
Yeah, certainly, as I say, John, that's a very much a set move from left inside left position right out to right wing. Dan will move inside, leave the space for the ball to be played over. And at the moment, the Russians are still marking in front, so they'll need to mark it slightly behind in order to counter that.
Again, the battle. The free goes to Ireland. Obstruction. An aerial ball intended for Clark, taken down by the sweeper Kachkar. Vincenkovic off the feet of the Belarusian, but the umpire deems no, it goes the other way. Kirkwood is perplexed. And a 25-yard hit. So the Cork man in control at the back so far. And behind him, of course, another Cork man in goal. So 1-0, about 14 minutes gone. And there's the man who's finding the freedom. And that's the first ball that comes into the crowd as Kirkwood tries to get to grips with 2-3 Belarusians, takes them on, still has possession, still Kirkwood shows the reverse stick. Kirkwood's fouled, the advantage is played, but it didn't go his way, a little bit unlucky.
Yeah. It's the sort of skill that we've come to expect from Jimmy Kirkwood. I think on that occasion he was just nudged off the ball, so he couldn't get the spinal pass into Alistair Dunn, who was well placed inside the circle.
Krakar again, sweeping the high ball, deemed to be dangerous. Burns, drifting up to Burns, Korochenko. Nice 1-2. Cook. Kirkwood again. Dowd. Kirkwood for Clark. Milinovic on Clark. And again they try and break from midfield. Barkov, number 7. Fouled by Dunn. Vincenkovic. Well read by the captain, but it touched him. The ball cannot touch the player, remember that. Barkov in midfield now with Sankovets. And well let through by the Irish defence there. Haid and Burns. That's Burns. Little switch of plan. Kirkwood touches it on. Dunn comes back. Dunn is fouled and elbowed. And Ali Dunn lifted his head that time. Raises his hand and apologises. That's the guilty party.
At this stage, John, Ireland not finding too much difficulty getting the ball out of the back. At least the back four and the midfield has started settled. Still not really getting the first touch on the ball up front.
The Belarusians have the first touch now with that free just outside the circle. 5 yards. Back it comes to number 10, Sankovic, the captain. Fractionally offside, just crept in behind the back. That's the man in the middle of your picture, number 9. He was just a fraction offside. Again the square ball, again Cook takes on the man with the dummy and goes forward, still in possession on the halfway line. Rides 2 tackles, maybe a yard or two too far, but he was chopped. They get the free. Kirkwood says, it's from here, sir. No, sir, he says, it's not. It's 10 yards back. Cook and Kirkwood. Dunn switches it through for Captain Sloan. Zaroff. Taylor, the man who scored against the Netherlands, still Taylor. Taylor reverse pass into Sloan. Sloan has Clark outside him, appeals for the penalty corner. The ball had been raised, goes the other way, touch and go. Well taken down by Dunn, deemed to be high too, a body liner in cricket parlance. 15 minutes gone in the first half, and a brilliant goal from Canning has Ireland leading by the only goal thus far. Penalty corner tally is 2 for Ireland and none for the opposition. Kirkwood threads it through for Clark. Was he offside? He was, and it had touched him as well. But the move was good.
Yeah, nice little move, and again rehearsed move. Jimmy Kirkwood getting a short ball, dragging in towards the Belarus back line and slipping it through to Clark, but just slightly offside.
As Mankowski comes to grips with Haid on the far side. Jakowski puts on the brakes. Still Jakowski. He's taken the Irish sweeper out of position. Dowd has elected to play sweeper. He scurries back now into the circle. So from the line ball it'll be Djukovic to Klimovic. And Kopolov fires it in. Now an opportunity here. Offside again. Marginal. Irish caught-napping. Belarusians very quick to take the free.
Certainly, and when the ball comes firing in across the circle like that, it's quite difficult to pick up amongst the crowded players. And in fact, it actually hit Alan Dowd in the foot, but the Belarus player was just slightly offside, so Ireland got away with that.
Kirkwood. Dunn on the right of the attack. Cook. Kirkwood. Kirkwood feigns obstruction, I think, but he gets away with it. Wily man is Kirkwood. He got a gold medal in Seoul. So did our co-commentator, by the way. Still Ireland go forward. Cook and Kirkwood. Belarus going backwards now. Kirkwood again. Clark with him. Kirkwood turns it infield. Kirkwood looks for feet. Kirkwood goes on his own. Kirkwood's obstructed. Kirkwood gets the penalty corner.
Beautiful piece of play by Jimmy Kirkwood. Things were very much tight on the right-hand side. He swiveled, came back inside, and eventually was chopped. Stick was chopped inside the circle. So penalty corner to Ireland.
He really is a wily old bird.
He is indeed. Let's hope Ireland can capitalise on this.
From the back line, Daniel Clark. Anything can happen with the switch. Sloan is on the right of Kirkwood if they stop and fire once. They fire deliberately. Straight into brilliant save from the goalkeeper. Over the back line. Long corner. So Vachkis doing well in goal. Having an interesting afternoon.
Yeah, nice slick routine. Ball out, slip flick. Goalkeeper made to make a save. Unfortunately for him, his first save pushed it over the byline.
On the halfway line, again they try the counter. Kolatchenko. Dutch and Spanish umpires in control of the match. And Ireland, I think it's fair to say, in control as well. As Kachkar, the sweeper, goes forward, but too far forward and gives it to his opposite number. The ball bounces loose, picked up by Sankovets. Dunn tries the tackle, doesn't get it in. Too much pace on that for the Belarus number 7. Kirkwood, not an inspired ball from Kirkwood. Vincenkovic to Sankovets. The Irish come back to cover. Racing through obstruction, advantage played as Bateman comes out of goal, and it's led across, but good effort. Bateman doing what he was asked.
Certainly, it was a lovely move by Kolopov, one of the players I mentioned earlier, and Ivan Bateman came out, at least put him under a little bit of pressure, and Kolopov is just on the pitch. Maybe he'd been on 5 minutes earlier. He may have, you see here, Bateman out to the top of the circle, put a little bit of pressure on. If Kolopov had been on a few minutes early, he may well have made a little bit more of that.
Bear in mind that the rolling substitute law applies. You can bring on and off subs as often as you wish without consultation, and there's a little minor contretemps in the midfield there. Kolopov, the man we spoke of, was involved in a fracas or a word with Robbie Taylor, who takes no prisoners, I'm told, reliably. Again the free to Belarus. Again they're quick to take it. Kolatchenko draws Cook with him.
Yeah, I think that was unlucky for Neil Cook there, but the umpire judged him to deliberately kick the ball, although it was raised into, a couple of inches off the ground.
Unlucky indeed, but they force their first penalty corner. Now, in goal, Bateman will be issuing instructions. And the Irish will want to move very quickly because Kratchkar, number 4, is poised to strike if the stick stop is good. There's the stick stop. There's Kratchkar. He goes for the scoop. Bateman has it. Bateman kicks it away. Bateman does well. Quickly taken in. Back into play. And that's too high.
Ireland, unfortunately, here that the push out was misdirected. Put a little bit of pressure on the striker. Ivan Bateman takes that very comfortably. Ireland will be happy to see that go wide.
Sankovic finds his number 12, Mankowski. Mankowski finds Haid. The line ball. Aerial ball intended for Korochenko. That's Kirkwood. Look at the face. These boys training for 40 weeks of the year, remember, even though it's an amateur sport. And again in midfield, Sankovets takes 2 shirts, gets the free, number 10, Sankovets, wily player, lays it off now to Kopylov, the man who's capable of scoring, as they switch the square ball to Barkov. Barkov, the turf, a little slippy for Kirkwood. That's his problem. Sankovic. Belarus again in the circle. Across it comes, and not a lot of trouble there for the Cork goalkeeper, but a reverse stick pass. And they get the penalty corner for feet. So they forced a second penalty corner in a matter of 60 seconds. And there's the man who's beginning to work upfield now, number 8, Klimovic. So from the back line, it's Sankovic, number 10. And again, the big sweeper, number 4, is poised. But watch that Irish sprint from the goal line. There's the stop. The first time shot. Down. It should be off the post. Ireland off the post. Taken out eventually by Bateman. Came back. Fired in again, but hit off the right post. And Ireland lucky to be leading by 1 goal at the moment.
Superb strike by the Belarus forward here. Ball comes out, stopped. Unbelievable take off the line by Alan Dowd. Ball hits the post and eventually cleared.
So a let off for Ireland. Probably fair to say Belarus worth a goal. Vincenskovic, number 13. Clark moves back into his own half for the first time in this match. Free to carry it forward is Klachkov. A lot of power on that one. He found his man too, Kopylov. Again, Belarus beginning to find space now. And Ireland losing their shape a little bit in midfield. You can see what's happening. The passes are beginning to find the white shirts. That's good play. Splendid hockey. Kratchkar. Charazov. Sloan goes in, gets the reverse to it, but the sweeper is there. Kratchkar again. Still Kratchkar runs into Kirkwood. Gets the free. The umpire will spot that, Jimmy. Vincenkovic shakes off the tackle of Dunn. On the 25, good ball. Well taken out by Taylor. Just as well. Canning, the man who got the goal, on a run. On the halfway line, shows his power, lays a good olive for Clark. The goalkeeper sees what's happening and does very well to come out, scoop it away. Ball still in play, and again they look for the counter-attack. Mankovic. Burns tries to turn. Burns hit his foot. Burns knows he's guilty. Had that happened in the circle, it would have been a penalty corner. So it's all Belarus as Kopylov takes control of the free hit. Little switch, 1-2, and again Bateman saves. Another opportunity, he's still in the circle, look for the penalty corner this time. He still has possession, lays it through, and there's nobody there. They should have scored a goal there. Brilliant play from Kopylov, but nobody there when he eventually flicked it through behind the Irish defence.
Yes, beautiful save from Ivan Bateman. Ireland going through a little difficult period here. Belarus over the last couple of minutes have been putting quite a lot of passes together. They've started to settle, and maybe their long trip is starting to get out of the system. Here the ball comes in, unmarked Belarus player, great save by Bateman.
And a great battle in midfield as Ireland get the free. 17 minutes, 25 minutes gone in this first half. We still have the only goal of the match, but we're lucky to be in that. Clark traps it. Clark runs the long way round, and Clark can't get the ball past the defence. Kirkwood comes up. Kirkwood rolls the wrists. Clark again the long way. Clark should deliver now. He does. It's a good ball. Coming in again at pace was Dunn. Alistair Dunn. Another Cork man. And everybody enjoying it. Laughter and sunshine galore, and Ireland leading. That's all that matters. But Dunn really should have got to stick to that. It was a very well rehearsed move, but he blew it, I think.
Yeah, I think Alistair on the wrong line. He was far too much inside the right hand post. If he was more towards the flick spot, he may have got a better angle on the deflection.
Cook tries to find Canning. Calling for it in midfield is Clark. Takes two with him, lays it free for Canning, the man who scored. Canning sweeps a beautiful ball across for Dunn. Another chance for Dunn. He gets feet off the defence. Well done. So Dunn got what he came for.
Yeah, you can see when the Bayern get the ball to the forwards, Canning plays the ball in there to Dunn, plays it onto the Belarus foot, but when they get the ball to the forwards, the Belarus defence look a little bit susceptible.
And that means Ireland has their fourth penalty corner. At the very top level in this game, they could expect 60, 70, maybe 75% success rate from the set piece. That would be from the Netherlands, but the umpire is having a word with Klachkrov. Not too happy with his comments. Perhaps he speaks Belarus or Russian or whatever. I certainly don't, but he goes back. He's lucky he's still on the pitch. Okay, Daniel Clark from the back line. These movements are rehearsed, believe it or not, up to 200 times in a practice session. They shouldn't go wrong. Clark. Poised to strike is Cook. Cook lets it hit his foot, and the quick three taken again as they break. Sankovets in midfield unmarked, puts it out to the right wing. Canning tried to close that down, off the stick, and a let off for Ireland, but they're very, very quick on the counter. Mankiewicz. Not a second is wasted. Free again. Djukovic shouldn't be free. Runs into a tackle there from Burns. Burns scoops it to Clark. Clark waiting for a call. Nobody calls. Gets the free, but there was very little support. They're breaking up just a little in midfield.
Yeah, it was good play actually by Dan Clark there, because Ireland under a little bit of pressure. Gerard Byrne made a good tackle, played it out to the forwards, and what he's looking for in this stage is for the forwards to hold it up, just a bit like soccer, especially in this heat. It's getting quite hot out there, and players are starting to get a little bit tired towards the end of the first half. So nice bit of play by Dan Clark.
That's Robbie Taylor. As again, Klachikov lays it forward this time for Klimovic. Kirkwood on the halfway line. Haid with them. Dowd. That's Dowd. Ali Dunn lays it on, but in an accurate pass, get feet. Certain amount of strategy involved in touching, as you can appreciate. You get the free if you can put it onto his foot. And that was Canning loitering. Strange decision. We thought he was chopped, but the umpire said he was offside. Kratchkar again. The lob taken down by Cook and dispatched where it should go.
Yeah, I think Ireland at the moment are starting to play the ball a little bit too long. When they were playing well in their good period in the first half, they were playing nice and tight, especially on the right hand side between Cook, Kirkwood and anybody who was ever playing on the right wing.
Now that young man you saw running on getting his 10th cap is Julian Stevenson from Garvey. The rolling substitute law, on and off as often as you wish. On the 25, Barkov. Sloan, the Irish captain, puts it through the legs and hands it on a plate to Kirkwood. Kirkwood, you can appreciate, has been closely marked. You saw the player lifting his foot to get out of the way of the ball. Either way, we've won the free. Sloan. Canning, nobody there. Kirkwood covering a lot of ground as some of these passes are going astray. Klimovic showing good stick work. Clark in control, Shirley. Well read. Cook in support. Cook dances round the tackle. Cook does well. Kirkwood. Superb stick control. Clark scooped on behind, unfortunately, Cook. Free to Belarus. Budnikov. Kirkwood. Dowd just a little bit slow. Kirkwood calls for it. Kirkwood has it. Now that's Taylor. Lays it on for Haid. Haid is unmarked. Haid gains ground. He's Canning beside him. Gives it to Canning. Canning sweeps it back. A good build-up. Taylor calling for it in midfield is Sloan. Taylor goes on his own. And Taylor has raised the ball. And maybe some sort of a press. Stevenson's now number 14. Should some form of press perhaps to stop this build-up, which is good from the Belarus back. No doubt about it. They've improved as the match goes on.
Yeah, certainly one way to stop that is to for Ireland to put a full press on. I think at the moment they need to wait until the ball goes wide, just like this, and then Canning to put a little bit of pressure on. Dan Clark to come over to make sure the ball can't go back inside, so that the right half's forced to play the ball down one side.
But Ireland are forced to defence now. Put in by Kalapov. Oh, just behind the stick of Budnikov. He was a foot forward, maybe 2 feet. That's him there just going out of your picture, but he very nearly got a stick to it. And there wasn't a green shirt near him. As Kirkwood tries to build again. Kirkwood falling back in defence now. Kirkwood fouled. 4 minutes left in this first half. Kirkwood covering an alarming amount of ground. Clark should lay it on. Stevenson's chance to open the account for himself, and he fails. Good goalkeeping, but he hit it straight at him. Clark again. A poor attempt from Clark. Stevenson gets another chance. Stevenson's in the circle. The advantage being played. Belarus under pressure, but cool and composed. Stevenson challenges the cat and the mouse. The rolling wrist. Beats Stevenson, but sticks, and the free eventually to Belarus. But surely an opportunity there for Stevenson. He went point blank straight at him.
Yep, nice bit of play by Dan Clark in terms of getting the ball into the circle, and Julian did everything right. That was a great save by the keeper.
Dowd lays it off to nobody in particular in a green shirt. It's picked up by an 11. Kalapov freed out to number 10, Sankovic. Sankovic fires a good ball too high, but a lot of pace on it, and he was breaking free on the right again. They have this ability to counter-attack at speed, to create from nothing, and Ireland looking a little bit slow when that happens. Onto the halfway line for Canning. Canning gets a good ball to Taylor. Taylor has 2 on him, looks for Clark. Clark shakes off 1, shakes off 2, finds Kirkwood. Kirkwood threads it through the legs. Kirkwood still. Stevenson in support. And the free to Ireland. So Kirkwood on the 25. On his right is Cook. And words against Budnikov. He's still on the pitch. Very, very understanding umpire. But anyway, back to business. He's been chopping continually. Kirkwood beside him. Marty Sloan. Coming up to half-time. Kirkwood loses it. Again, the quick counter. Now, can he turn his man? He does. He turns Dowd. Dowd turns back and does well to regain possession. Good play from Dowd to Cook. Cook settles for feet. Hard man. Just 2 minutes left in this first half. And still the only goal scored by Canning. Clark. Cook. Still Cook, bludgeoning his way down the touchline. Kirkwood pumps it in. An opportunity. 1, 2, 3, missed it. It had been raised anyway, but somebody should have got a stick to it.
Yeah, lovely ball in by Jimmy Kirkwood. Robbie Taylor just lifted it maybe in the circle, or Alistair Dunn. Kirkwood fires it in, and the first, ball comes up off Robbie Taylor's stick, almost hits one of his own players. If that had been directed towards the net, it would have been allowed.
Cook is turned. Kodachenko, the free goes against him. Burns takes his time now, aware that the boys need a breather. Dowd pumps it over the line. That makes sense. Stankovic, Vincenkovic. They've changed their sweeper. It's now Klachkov. And that's Jukovic taking on Canning, switched back in midfield. Beginning to make the Irish frontrunners run and earn their money. Krachkar sweeping going forward in support. Budnikov. Good ball for Jukovic. Trying to turn his man. His man is Haid. Turns Haid, still Haid. In it comes. It's a good ball. The sticks get to it. Corner. It was Dowd for Ireland who was there with the stick. And it in comes and a chance. Can he turn? He can't. Still possession, trying desperately to get it back into the circle as Sloan takes it away. The umpire sees the infringement and Ireland win the free, but they are looking very, very good now.
Yeah, great piece of play by Alan Dowd there, because one of the first principles of defence when the ball comes in like that is to get to it first, and he dived full length, managed to get the ball away for a corner.
Well, he got it away for a corner all right, but the most important... That's Jimmy Kirkwood on the left. Number 14 is Stevenson. And on the right, of course, the man who scored, Liam Canning, the school teacher from St. Columba's. And that's Colin Haid from Dublin YM, 25-year-old accountant. Heading for 30 caps if things go well this tournament. And that's the big man from Cork, who was sweeping but seemed to change role and went to left flank, but a man not to trifle with. And as Stephen said, it would be nice to see him brought into play on the set pieces, particularly the penalty corners. Ger Burns from Cork. So, a lot of perspiration and a lot of tired faces out there. Beautiful afternoon in Dublin. Ireland restart. They have the lead thanks to Canning's goal in the first half. Belarus didn't come this far to lose. They're ranked 12th in the world, remember, ahead of Ireland. So the slow pace for the inevitable sorting out period for the first few minutes. But important that Ireland don't lose their grip on it, as Haid fires one to the halfway line, and that gives a breather. Clark racing onto it, but you'd want to be in Gothenburg, not here in Belfield, to have gotten to that one. And that's Mankowski, his first cap today. So a big day for Alex Mankowski. As Ireland again try and tidy it up. Stevenson has a little sweep. And, well, maybe he should have made more of that one.
Yeah, certainly Julian made a good attempt, but it was a little weak, going wide of the right-hand post.
As it comes in at pace from Cook, a good stop. Goalkeeper gets to it, corner. Opportunity number 2 for Stevenson. That's Dowd. And the corner taken in by Ireland and taken out by Belarus. Canning. That's Canning trying to fire it in. That's Krachkar. And a little run again now from Korachenko. Korachenko has 3 green shirts on him, looks for feet off the Irish captain. Surely he gets it. He does, the advantage being well played by the Dutch referee, or the Dutch umpire. As Kolopov, the 1-2, still Kolopov. Dancing into the tackle. Obstruction, says the umpire. Jukovic, 11 is Kolopov. Stankovic in possession. Jukovic turns 1, turns 2. They look for feet. Goes the other way.
That's much better defending by Ireland there. At least they're getting a stick in when the Belarus players forwards have the ball.
And Stevenson again almost picked up a loose ball there, but the blonde Kratkar, number 4, saw what was coming out of the sun and took control. Kolopov and Taylor having a disagreement over where the stick should be played and where it shouldn't be.
John, that's one thing that Ireland got to be very careful of, especially in this heat and in this tournament. You don't want to be able to pick up too many cards in the tournament. One of the better players in the Belarus side, Kolopov, Taylor putting a fairly robust challenge in there.
Anyway, Taylor's well able to look after himself. He's one of the hard men out there. The man who got the 2 goals for Ireland against the Netherlands. As we go on the... No, it's Kirkwood. Can't get to it. Silver... or gold medal rather in Seoul for Kirkwood. And the play, as you can see, slowing down just a little. Little bit of indecision. Kratchkar, number 4. Again, they try and bypass that Irish midfield. Dowd shows his skill in taking it down. Clark. Jivovsky. Haid. And again Burns clears for Ireland. On the halfway line. Jukovic. Kratchkar. Kratchkar. Taylor sees it. Ball has been raised. That's Robbie Taylor. And again, you can see a little bit of a press being formed by Belarus as they pin the Irish in, as Taylor tries to break out, finds Kirkwood this time. But Mankowski sees what's happening, and now a break ball for Clark. Clark in the centre, Clark aims, Clark fires, it's taken down by the goalkeeper's hand. Still Clark in the centre, looks for the penalty corner. Doesn't get it, the free goes the other way.
Good bit of play by Marty Sloan. Gets the ball out to Clark. He takes the ball himself. Good save by the goalkeeper. May well have pushed the ball across to Kirkwood. May hear about that later on tonight.
As Cook goes down the right wing. Stevenson calling for it as Canning, the goal scorer. Canning has it.
Come on.
It's pretty fast and pretty hot, and he did his best. Burns beginning to fire them at Burns now. Change of tactics from the Belarusians. Kolopov drifts in field. Mankowski, Kolopov. Kolopov has a goalkeeper off the line. Kolopov should have scored there. Thought he was worth a free, but Ireland break. And Cook on the right. And over the sideline.
And lovely stick skills by the Belarus forwards. Gets into the circle. It again is a feature of Ireland's play here. They're allowing the Russians to run the ball at least 25 yards there without even getting a stick tackle in.
Yet again it comes out of the sky. And they're having so much trouble, I think, with Taylor and Sloan and Kirkwood in midfield that they're intent on bypassing them with the aerial ball. That's Kotachenko, number 9. Dowd trying to close him down. Dowd still on him. As the Irish regroup now, back into their own circle. If this one comes in at pace, and it does. Taken over the line, not intentionally, corner. So Cook will take that free for chopping. That's Cook up the right wing now. And a bit of their own medicine as he tries to find Stevenson and Canning. Two dangerous men, they're together. Stevenson fires it across. Canning, beautiful control, tries to bypass the goalkeeper. Should have turned it back into McAnulty. A little bit selfish. McAnulty was completely unmarked. Canning there in your picture did the wrong thing.
Certainly agree with you. A lovely ball through. Julian Stevens does the right thing. Plays the ball across early. When Canning gets the ball here, you'll see McNulty just behind him. Coming into the picture now, but Liam decides to go his own.
That'll be talked about tonight as well, let me tell you.
It certainly will.
Just outside the circle, the free to Ireland. Cook raised it, got to keep it down. Must keep it on the surface. It can be deemed to be dangerous.
It's amazing, John, how these half chances if they're scored, can really settle the team. Ireland are certainly playing a little bit frenetically at the moment, a little bit edgy, not really getting a good first touch on the ball.
Again, they fire it out of the sky at Ger Burns, and again he fails to clear, but he didn't fail that time. He came out on top, but they're making him busier than he was in the first half. Kirkwood, right wing run, still Kirkwood, support from Stevenson. Nice touch though, good defence, good tackle. Kratchkar passes Burns. I'm wondering, is the game plan to run everything at Burns? Sankovic upset the big Cork man, upset the defence, upset the game plan. Ireland losing a little bit of their shape at the back. Djokovic, McAnulty, Mankowski almost in the circle. Very nearly made it, gets the free just outside. Kolopov fires it in. A chance! Well, no goal given. The ball had been bobbling and raising. I wouldn't think the bench in front of us would be too happy with that, but Kolopov delivered the perfect ball. It looked good from here.
Yeah, you can almost expect a goal coming. Kolopov playing the ball in, but the umpire judged that the ball was slightly raised, which is fortunate for the Irish side because it's a very good finish by the forward.
So they have shown what they can do and what they came to do. And they'll be wondering about that. That's Koppler. He won't be too upset about that decision. Haid.
There's a few Banbridge men who I'm sure if they're looking on would be very unhappy with David McAnulty in that situation in his bottom left hand corner. He actually had the ball before that free hit on his open side, could have cleared it, and no doubt if he was playing for Banbridge he may have done that. I think he was trying to be a little bit over constructive in that situation. Ireland under pressure.
Stevenson tangles with Krakar. Midfield, Sankovic calling for it and nobody there. Gets the free, gets the corner rather. In it comes. Penalty corner off the foot. So the first penalty corner of the second half goes to Belarus. And to the back line goes the captain, Nikolai Sankovic. As the Irish get their game plan in order, who will assist who? Bateman will dive after the shot is hit. But it looks to me as if Kratchkar or Kratchkov will strike. Kratchkar, the dummy, the switch, the chance. Bateman's down, just pulls it wide. They had a great chance there. The ploy was good and the Irish bought it.
Nicely worked routine by Belarus. Ivan Bateman putting a lot of pressure on the final shot, mind you. But you just feel, John, that Belarus are rolling up a lot of pressure and it's only a matter of time before they score. Here, well, ball played out to the top of the circle. Little slip routine, and I think they'll be disappointed with that one. That's Kolopov who missed that one.
Raised again.
There's Kolopov, played against him a few times, a man with a great deal of stick skills. And unfortunately he's been allowed to use them in this second half.
Canning. Two men on Canning. Canning delivers. It's a great ball. Good take defence. Splendid defence by Djokovic. And assisted there by number 4, Kratchkar. But what a delivery from Canning.
Lovely cross by Liam Canning, and again the Belarus defender there showing a good example to any defender looking. Getting there first, getting in front of the forward and coolly clearing the ball. Liam getting past his man, playing the ball forcefully across the goal. And the defender, number 2, getting there first, just in front of McAnulty.
As Haid can't control the ball. Sloan nudges it forward to Taylor. Kirkwood calls for it. Canning. Kirkwood. Taylor would have been offside.
In this heat, John, Ireland when they play well in this game, they play it short, sharp, and do the simple things well. There seems to be a lot of space opening up in midfield, and during the rest of the tournament, if they play matches like this, that'll really sap the energy. So they've got to play with a little bit more control, slow the pace down. They are 1-0 up. They can't afford to give the ball away too many times because this Belarus side are very dangerous on the break.
As Taylor takes on one too many and does well, but the free goes against him. And the umpire is calling Taylor. Oh, it's Stevenson he's having a word with. Oh, well, Julian Stevenson for chopping. The card for chopping. Lucky to be on the pitch as the Belarus sub comes on, and Barkov, fresh legs. They take the free just outside the 25. Now they're in the 25. Kopolov. Jousting with Kirkwood and McAnulty. Gets the free, takes it in at pace. Dowd traps it, steers it out. McAnulty. And a touch of desperation about the Irish clearances now as Ireland's substitute on the halfway line. Alistair Dunn, number 7, comes on. That's David McAnulty, but Dunn from Cork CFI has joined the Irish team on the pitch now. It's a little disjointed. Sloan comes back to take control at the back.
Certainly the first game of any tournament, you'd like to play as many players as possible just to get them bedded in, but unfortunately Ireland with only a 1-goal advantage won't be able to do that very much, and Koplar at the moment is just substituting some of his forwards, replacing some of his forwards.
Cook. Oh, a loose ball. McAnulty. Still McAnulty. Time for the reverse stick. He tries to turn and square it across, and there's nobody there. Oh, that's a bad sign. There should have been support. Kirkwood was coming in, but he was very slow, and McAnulty took on 2.
Nearly a repeat of the first half, and when Liam Canning scored, McAnulty got round the corner, round the back, but unfortunately Canning himself couldn't get the stick on the ball.
But he did get the pass in, Stephen, and there was nobody there. Now, midfield. Belarus. Klachovic takes on the Irish sweeper, who does very, very well with support from Cook and Haid. Now, just outside the circle, Jukovic off the stick and raised. So free out to Ireland, still leading by 1-0, scored in the first half by Liam Canning with 15 minutes gone in the second half.
One of the features of Ireland's build-up, John, is their physical preparation. Case Koplar has been noted as saying in the local papers that they're much better prepared than the Ajax football's team that he would have physically trained in the 70s with Nieskens and people like that.
That's right, on and off for 17 years he's been involved with the physical ability of the Ajax team, so he knows what he's doing, and beside him is George, the assistant manager. But that's Koplar, the Irish coach from Holland. Burns tries to fire it to midfield. Again, it breaks down. Dunn comes back to pick up the loose ball. Kirkwood says he'd have to go alone. Kirkwood gets advantage. Canning is free. Canning is in possession. Canning sends it across. On off the post. Another chance for McAnulty, the reverse stick. Again, it's saved. Superb play by the Irish, but pretty good goalkeeping too. And again, Belarus try and come away. They took the Irish onslaught.
We see a good play by Kirkwood out to the right wing. Canning plays the ball across. Oh, a lovely touch by Ali Dunn. Only the crossbar saving the goalkeeper.
Kolopov, nobody there. Good ball from Kolopov, and coming in was number 7, Barkov, but Kolopov, number 11, was the man who sent that in. And Barkov, a little bit faster, could have got a stick to it and beaten Bateman.
Just feel, John, if Ireland can get one more goal, that would settle them down a little bit more. Still very, very edgy, even though we're playing 20 minutes into the second half. There's Martin Sloan, and one of the things that he'll be trying to do at the moment is communicate to his players, come on, let's get the ball, let's keep it, let's keep things simple, not give the ball away, and try and get an extra goal, which will really help the players settle down.
McAnulty couldn't control that one. On the halfway line, Dunn. A good ball, Cook. Ireland moving up to the 25. Kirkwood comes back to take control from the free. He in turn is fouled. But as Stephen rightly said, another goal I think is very badly needed. They're not playing with the skill and poise they had been playing with earlier in the week and fortnight, and indeed the day of the great victory over the Dutch. Of course, the stakes are high. Sankovets, that's a good ball through to Kolopov. Kolopov, no time wasting with him. Sankovets. Burns gets out of the way. Sloan tries to take it out of the way. And the advantage is played as Jukovets tries to go through. Kirkwood gets advantage again. Takes no prisoners. Is obstructed there by Kratchkar. And you can't blame him because the blonde defender knew that if Kirkwood got away from him that time that he was in trouble. So Vladimir did what a man has to do.
And very lucky not to get a card for it.
As Clark comes on. And Canning takes a breather. Hard to watch what's happening. It happens so quickly. Sloan to Dunn. Breaks down. Klimovich runs wide. Takes Cook with him. Klimovich has a chance to send it across. Kirkwood has come back to defend. Dunn. Kirkwood with him. Kirkwood slowing up just a little, methinks. Kratchkar to Klatchkov. Almost cut out by Dunn. Mankowski with McAnulty. McAnulty has possession. Sankovich. Sloan gets a stick to it. Doesn't contain it though. The Irish regroup on their circle. Taken out by Cook, not far enough. Belarus looking for the penalty corner. Another yard and they would have gotten it. Sankovich. See the bumping in the circle. Yes, off the feet, well worked. Holloway was the man who couldn't get out of the way. So penalty corner. They're second in the second half. That's Bateman. He will be issuing instructions. On the back line for Belarus is Sankovich. And the blonde defender is slow and fires. Bateman gets down. They look for the penalty corner. They don't get it though. Chopping with the stick on the goalkeeper. It's a difficult rule that the goalkeeper is not allowed to smother the ball. But he was down on it, but they had offended him. Burns. Again. Not those masculine clearances we had earlier. Again, the Belarus ball onto the circle. That was Kolopov. Number 12 is Mankowski. But still in the Irish 25.
Here we see the ball out to the top of the circle. Good shot. Bateman does well to stop it. And Robbie Taylor does very well to kick it out of his pads.
As Mankowski endeavours to fire one across. Cleared by Haid. Jukovets. Dunn for Ireland. Kratchkar. And Dunn. With a bit of holding.
Just feel that Ireland are living in borrowed time here, John. Certainly when Jimmy Kirkwood and Robbie Taylor are getting very, very tired in inside forward positions. And sometimes when that does happen, Coppola swaps Ali Dunn get fresh legs in midfield and plays Jimmy Kirkwood further up front. I would certainly like to see that in the last 5 minutes.
As Clark fires in and Dunn should score, and Dunn does score. Alistair Dunn, number 7, gets his first goal ever in the green shirt from a superb cross from Clark.
Great, well-rehearsed moves. Taylor, overhead ball to Clark, as we saw in the first half, and this time Ali Dunn slides, gets the ball up over the goalkeeper into the roof of the net. That hopefully will settle Ireland down now. With only about 5 minutes to go, we should see a comfortable 2 points in the last couple of minutes.
Now, it's been a good few days for Cork, what with Sonia and now with Ali. Ireland come away. Kirkwood loses it. Kodachenko, the free. Belarus desperate now. No time wasting whatsoever. Kolopov. Haid.
Here we see Clark playing the ball across. Ali Dunn stretching for it, just getting a deflection that puts into the back of the net. I think if he had missed it, McAnulty would have followed up anyway.
12 minutes left. Kolopov again in the circle. Bateman gets his foot to it. Belarus. Kochenko. Raised. Well, touch and go. But it goes our way. Ger Burns, number 3, the man who's been the target, I think, of the onslaught. Ireland substitute Paul Holway comes on. Holway gets his 54th cap as Stevenson takes a breather. And that's the goal scorer, Dunn. Sankovic takes on Sloan, switches it neatly to Klachkov. Back to Kachikar. Kachikar showing his pace for a big man. Number 8, Klimovic. Kirkwood loses the duel and his feet as the Irish captain tries to take it out into the other half, but they're getting possession and holding possession now, Belarus. But the scoreline reads well, 0-2. The 1-2, well worked, Sloan foot, the umpire plays advantage. Zarov, number 14, a bit slow with the whistle, eventually blows it. We don't want a snap goal, that's the last thing we need. Cook. That's Alan Dowd. Plays with Garvey, the team who nearly made the Irish Cup their own, as Clark goes to the halfway line calling for it as McAnulty, but the stick of Barkov just denying him. As again the counter-attack. Klachkov. Infield to Jakovsky. Klimovic, number 8, turns, delivers an opportunity. Good goalkeeping again. The Cork man does very well. The corner, they won't waste any time, it's too high.
Great piece of defending by Ivan Bateman. Shot comes in, makes a good first save, and manages to get across and clear the ball over the line.
As Burns pumps it up over the line between the 25 and the halfway. 9 minutes left. Ireland going well, and this is the opening match for them in the European Championships. And that ball had been raised. 2-0.
Still getting a little bit overrun in midfield, John, and certainly Taylor's gone off to have a rest. One of the features of Robbie when he gets tired, he starts to get a little bit more over-aggressive and could be having a rest the wrong side of the bench.
As again Burns fails to clear, I'm afraid, and lays on an opportunity for Zarazov. That's raised and straight at the Irishman. That's Ger Burns who took the full brunt of that, but he's up. That's the way they make them in Cork. Nothing that a point-blank ball will do to a Cork man. Burns tries to clear again. Not the accuracy he had in the first half. Djukovic picks it up. Back to Kratchkar. Kratchkar making ground. Burns tries to stop. Burns surely touched it. Burns surely did. Klatchkov. Still Klatchkov. Runs through Cook. Sucks 2 men with him now. Very near the circle. Gets it in. Opportunity for a diving goal and a brilliant goal from Kolopov. Superb goal. Terrific work from the winger, but Kolopov was in the right place at the right time, and they're back in the match.
Nice piece of play here by the Russian left winger, but he was allowed to drag the ball right into the circle from just about outside the 25, and Kolopov played a nice touch on the ball to bring Russia back into the game.
Well, that sort of all stemmed from a tired-looking Ger Burns and his inability to clear the ball. So the match is on again. Ireland looking good up to a minute ago as Sloan goes through on his own. Sloan has support on his left in the shape of Holloway. Penalty corner, penalty stroke, penalty corner.
Penalty corner given there, John, because the Russian defender deliberately lay on the ground and blocked the ball through the path of the Irish forward.
There's a chance for Holloway actually to get to that ball had it come the other way, but from the back line now it's Daniel Clark. And all these rehearsals will surely yield 1 goal from the penalty corner. Both Irish goals from open play so far. That's poorly taken, a miss hit. And it's Belarus in midfield. Zarev, an opportunity again. Bateman off his line. Good tidying up by Haid. And he was chopped again. Obstruction. So Colin Haid in the right place. And obstruction by the Belarusian. Now, Burns elects to pass it square this time to Cook. He knows he's having trouble clearing it himself. And that's probably a good decision. Still Cook. Burns having problems. Perhaps he's injured, but so whilst he was prepared to fire everything at the oncoming attack, he's now giving the opportunity to Cook to clear the ball. He did take a tumble. Kratchkar with Klatchkov and Klimovich. Cook for Ireland. Five minutes. 2 goals to 1. And certainly Belarus look like capable of getting an equaliser as Dunn makes a break. McAnulty fractionally offside. Pity about that. The fitter from Banbridge just a fraction offside. And there's Burns again, backpedaling. Kolopov. Zarev touched the body. Advantage being played. Sankovic as Clark comes forward. Not a lot of support from Clark. Still Clark gets the free. But going forward at medium pace, I would think.
Good bit of play by Dan there because he had no real support. Managed to win a free. And he's certainly been the pick of the forwards this afternoon.
Haid switches it again to Cook. Kirkwood on the halfway line. Cook with him now. It was in fact Dowd who cleared. That's Cook. Cook gets his free. Kirkwood is with him. Clark is in the centre. Dunn is in the centre. And McAnulty is in the centre. And drifting into it now is Taylor. Back on. 4 Irishmen if the ball can come across. Cook still in possession, looking for a lot, sent it across, a chance here, surely! And pulled wide by Clark. Well, Daniel Clark had a great chance to make it 3-1 for Ireland.
Nice bit of play here by Neil Cook. Showed a lot of strength, very strong boy, getting to the back of the circle, pulls it back, just couldn't control it, and Dan Clark just pulls the ball wide.
And again an opportunity for Ireland as Clark goes for the goal he missed. And a penalty corner for obstruction. Jukovsky the guilty party, and I think the goalkeeper had a hand in it too, but Clark gets what he wanted.
Ball coming in, you can see here Dan Clark stretching for the ball, stopped by the goalkeeper and gets back up again. Dan is actually playing like a man possessed at the moment. Deserves a goal.
And he has possession now from the back line.
Let's hope this push out can be zipped up to the top of the circle with speed.
Taylor switches it to Cook the shot. The good save again. A second opportunity. But the umpire had seen the infringement. But they were at trouble. 6s and 7s. Ireland looking good from that set piece. Coppler would be pleased with the confusion they caused, and it's a pity the infringement came against them.
So John, their set pieces haven't been working very well this afternoon. They've certainly been going very well in training and very well in the pre-event matches. It's one of their strong features, defence and attacking corners.
So just over 2 minutes left. Ireland leading 2-1. Taylor loses it. And that's a 16-yard hit. And the umpire has seen contact, I think, has he? That's Colin Haid, Dublin YM. But he saw the contact. And Burns a little unsettled. Afraid to offend the umpire, I think, as Ali Dunn picks that up. But so too does Kratchkar. In midfield, Zarov. Clark comes back. Kirkwood gets the loose ball. Zarov versus Kirkwood. And surely the advantage should have been played. Clark. Cook. Clark. Sloan. Dowd.
Ireland played a lot more control in the last couple of minutes, John, and in fact it's carried them a couple of chances up in the Belarus circle. I think quite a lot of that's to do with the fact that Cook, Clark and Kirkwood are playing very controlled hockey on the right hand side.
Let's hope there are no unforced errors now. Time running out for the visitors. Just 1 minute left as they substitute. Budnikov comes on. And Taylor with the free. Little flick to nowhere, and that's not a bad idea. So vital Kirkwood gets control of that when he does. Superb reverse stick tackling and control. Belarus with the free, half a minute left. Budnikov straight at Dunn, and the ball was raised, so the free to Ireland. Dunn gone scampering up left of field towards the goal mouth, but that's the way it is, you got to take it. Taylor hoists a ball to no man's land, and that is wise. The countdown from the crowd, about 5 seconds left, as Karichenko goes for the ball and the hooter denies him, and Dowd picks up the ball, shakes hands with the man who was marking him so well. A good performance from the Irish team. There's McAnulty, he played a blinder. The full-time score, Ireland 2, Belarus 1, and a good start to the tournament for the Irish team.
Well,
Superb touch. Look at him, he's very, very happy with that goal.
It was a goal that they really needed, because they had begun to look very unsettled.
They were struggling to get that second goal. Really what they were looking to do was consolidate on some of the missed chances. This certainly wasn't a missed chance. Dan Clark gets inside it here, bashes across, watches for touch, right in off the far post.
Yes.
I mean, Ali will tell us that he timed that one to perfection, and so he did.
Yeah, it's a wonderful start, the best possible start for Ireland. And just to confirm the result then, it was Ireland 2, Belarus 1. And that means that the Pool B table looks this afternoon with Ireland on top with those 2 points from their first match. England, France, Germany and Poland still have to play. Belarus have no points from their one match. So that's it then. We'll be back at 9.
A pretty good player too, Steinman. He's a goal scorer, take a bit of marking. But their top player is their captain, number 3, Herbether. And again, he will have to be policed by Ireland. Interesting to see that sweeping for Ireland is Sturrock getting his first taste. There's the man, by the way, who got the goal, 1 of 2 goals, but they still lost that match to the Pole. But from Ireland's point of view, to see Sturrock sweeping at this level, bit of a risk.
I don't think Greg's a very competent player, and in the build-up to the European Championships, Case has used a full squad. He's been quite unfortunate that he did come in very late because he had quite a few injuries, but he's been used, and in fact he played in the game in which Ireland beat Holland 3-1 a couple of weeks prior to the tournament.
That's McAnulty, all set and ready, an aggressive, active player.
Looks as if David McAnulty is going to be starting at centre forward today, and he's one of the best players around, and certainly in Ulster League, at harrying the opposition. So that's probably going to be his main task today, to leave Liam Canning and Daniel Clark to play wide on the flanks.
Well, it's settle down time. There's one of the most aggressive players we have. Cook plays with Estonians, getting his 10th cap today. I beg your pardon, his 37th cap today. And 12, of course, one of the best known players, the captain, Marty Sloan from Cookstown. Not a bad number of caps. Sloan has 25 goals for Ireland. Perfect conditions for Cavalier to take control of the midfield if it's should it come his way. A little bit of a breeze coming up. Good crowd coming into Belfield, and everybody aware of how well Ireland has done in recent times. Remember, just 3 weeks ago they beat the Netherlands, and that was the surprise of all surprises.
Yeah, Robbie Taylor's one of the guys that Ireland will focus in on this afternoon to try and gain control of midfield. Certainly when chips are down for his own club, Liz Garvey, he's the guy that digs them out of trouble. He's the guy who puts the effort in.
And that's the man from Garvey who's replaced Bateman for this match. In goal, Raymond Geddes. But we're about to start. So a big day for Ireland. Remember, in a 2-horse race, the Netherlands came here 3 weeks ago and went home with their tail between their legs. The game is on the first test for the sweeper. Not a bad ploy by the Swiss. But he's up to it. And that's the man we speak of. To the Estonians player Cook. It'll run through there by Pfister, number 7. Again, Sturrock does well. Finds Burns, who normally plays in the sweeping role. Burns was a target for the attack earlier in the week, but, well, a little bit of pressure already. Now, that's Marty Sloan. Burns not as closely marked as he should have been, as he's allowed set it up again to the sweeper Sturrock. Dowd, another one of the Garvey players. Looking for Clark in the middle. Now Canning, the man with more pace than most, is on the run. Canning should reverse stick it, and a chance. McAnulty was loitering, the number 11, but good defence from Switzerland. But you saw how quick Canning was.
I'd certainly like to see Ireland, when they get into this position, to try and at least come out with a penalty corner to keep the pressure on the Swiss at this stage. Liam just a little bit loose in his pass in the circle.
Cook again tries to find Clark. That's Mooley. And that could have been dangerous, but well, yes, the whistle went. So on the halfway line, Sloan and now Ali Dunn, who got his first goal for Ireland against the Belarusians. Big day in Dunn's life. So the plays thus far in the Swiss half, as they try and bypass the Irish midfield, testing Sturrock again, and who can blame them? Quick free, that's the way to do it. Sloan, but too quickly. But you will notice that the top teams, the Dutch and the Germans, the moment the whistle goes, the free is taken. McAnulty lifted his head and he knows it. Again the bypass. This time Dowd takes it down. Nice control. Switched to Taylor, the man who scored twice against Holland, to Burns playing at left back. And again they find Clark, who has switched wings. Clark has McAnulty in the circle. Clark is well marked by Mooley. Plays it on to Canning, who's chased now by Gazer. Playing the stick. And Burns from Cork, one of the most powerful strikers to wear the green shirt, should thump this in at maximum revs. 5 yards, says the umpire. 5 yards it is. I'm glad I'm not on the 5-yard line. And it comes. Taken out by Steinman, the goal scorer against Poland, number 8. Burns again to show his power. Touch on. Steinman again. Cool play. Heller. But they're pinning them down. You could also say they're wasting opportunities, but it's early. Cork C of I, Ger Burns. Look at the movement in that circle. That's raised. Burns will be displeased with himself for that. Little raise of the old head. Can't do that, Ger. Again, the test. Burns up to it this time. It would appear at this stage the Swiss ploy is to bypass the midfield, and Canning goes on a run and sets up McAnulty. Good challenge, good defence from Grandchamp. He plays with Lausanne, and he knows what he's at. In midfield, Harbither, the captain, and the goal scorer against the Poles. To Cavalier.
Even at this early stage, John, the Swiss, you can see, are not able to put too many passes together, and if they keep pumping those aerial balls out of defence, Ireland will eat those up, and again they can allow them to go forward, but they still need to be a little bit more patient, just maybe switch the ball from left to right, right to left. By doing that, they need to play the ball a little bit firmer.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens as they launch their first attack. Now Cook should close that down. It comes across, and there was no red shirt there. Well, Schmidli was there, the number 10. Geddes' anxious moments.
You see here a lovely reverse stick play by the Swiss forward. Normally in that situation you may try and win a free or get your feet round, but it certainly is a new skill that's come into international hockey over the last couple of years, and one which any youngster should really get out there and practice. Takes the opposition by surprise.
That took our captain by surprise, but Canning latches on to what could be a gift horse, puts on the brakes. Clark is in the circle. Canning is now almost in the circle, gets the corner. So I wouldn't like to be marking Canning. He's decidedly faster than any of those Swiss defenders. The school teacher from Three Rock Rovers. Cross and raised.
Tendency in this situation, John, is for to really get a little bit tense and try and hit the ball too hard into the circle. In this occasion, the ball just raises slightly.
Now the Irish go and close down the build-up. Nice to see that happening. Feaster. McAnulty goes at him, so too does Clark. The reverse stick to Feaster again. He settles for the line ball. Cook gets feet, surely. Well, no whistle. Arbiter, the captain. Good ball, well read by Sturrett. That'll settle Sturrett's nerves, though he has switched from sweeper to full back. As Heller goes through on his own, out comes the reserve goalkeeper. Well, the ratio was against Heller just as well. Harbither again to Stutz. So they show that they have pace. That's Dowd. Cook beside him. Sturrett has reverted to sweeper. A few changes at the back as the game goes on. Hard to keep an eye on it, but Koppler and the bench obviously shouting instructions and giving directions as they try and find McAnulty and succeed. McAnulty barges through. McAnulty should deliver across. A great ball. That should have been a goal. Canning has another chance. Sweeps it in for Clark. Clark misses it. McAnulty has another chance and it's taken out for a corner.
Great bit of play by McAnulty, getting around the back and getting a really early cross in there. Unfortunately, too early for Dan Clark. Liam Canning picks up the return, and Dan just misses that one going across the goal.
And Cook with the long corner has raised it. So the free out to Switzerland. Grandchamp, the lob again. Dowd takes it down. Taylor, Garvey to Garvey player. Now the Dublin man has it. Cat and mouse with Steinman. Infield to his captain. Sloan gets this free for stick chopping. The big man from Cork is brought up again. And it goes. Direction on that one. Sliding in was McAnulty and Ali Dunn. The two Irish strikers in the right place at the right time, timing just a fraction out.
It's a great ball in by Ger Burns. Absolutely superb, and that would have been a set move. Just the Irish forwards just a little bit late getting down.
Yet again, the hoist. They're not happy with the midfield. And they're testing Sturrock. So at this moment, it's up to it down to Clark. Clark dropping back to midfield to tidy things up a little. That's Heller. Dowd, the Cork man. Taylor, surprisingly, well, I was going to say beaten, and he was in the end. He conceded the free. A little flick off the body. The ball can't touch the feet, or indeed the body. Drifting wide is Steinman. Trying to cut him out is Canning. Canning warned about his stick play. Geddes in goal. Ready for deflections that could come in at anything up to 120 miles an hour. And it comes. Sturrock takes it away. So too does Dunn. On the 25, Dunn looks for feet, gets it. Maybe he should have gone on his own. 10 minutes gone in the first half. No goals. Cook. McAnulty. Fishback. And Grandchamp. Grandchamp challenges. Grandchamp holds possession. As a sweeper, he's certainly drifting around the field. But back he goes to take up duty as he sends forward the attack. And again, Sturrock showing his agility. Good start for number 13 for Ireland. Nice, of course, to have fellas like Dowd beside you, and that man there, Cook. Challenge from behind. Dunn got his first goal in the green shirt. That's the man biting the turf there against Belarus. Big day in his life. Dowd bumps one down. Canning was the intended target. That's the first time they've carried it through midfield as a unit, and it's worked. Bircher. Sturrock goes out to cover, taking on Stutz, and again it's Cook lending support. Nice layoff. Dunn back to the captain. Captain challenged by Cavalier. Cavalier through the legs. Burns had it covered. Nice to see Burns running back in total control. A sort of a guardian angel role, Ger Burns, I think, playing for young Sturrock. McAnulty plays with Banbridge. Yet again, trying to find Stutz. Burns. Canning. Swiss fall back. Great numbers, as your pictures show you. Dowd calls for it on the halfway line. Dowd carries it forward. Dowd sends Clark through. Clark should reverse it. This could be a chance for McAnulty. Smacks it in off the keeper. Good work. Good break from Clark. Good pass. And good play from McAnulty.
Alan Dowd really set this one up. Managed to take the ball up to a couple of Swiss defenders, slipped the ball in nicely. Dan Clark playing that reverse stick shot we talked about earlier, and David McAnulty got a good shot in, but well saved by the goalie.
Well saved indeed, because it was point blank. But a free has been awarded to the Irish. Good crowd here in Belfield. Warm day, no direct sun. Perfect conditions. In fact, there's a pleasant breeze out there. Dunn threads it through. McAnulty lifts his head.
Ireland still really aren't playing with a lot of confidence. A lot of passes seem to be going astray. So over the next couple of minutes, I would like to see them play a little bit more possession hockey. Let the Swiss really move around, try and get the ball off them.
Well, they have their share of possession, you know. It's just hasn't quite worked out for them. They've had a few good attempts on goal. Now, the captain, Marty Sloan, to Dowd. Back to Sturrett. Clark trying to run off his marker. Canning breaking free. Canning, I think, has been marked by the number 8, Steinman, and he's shaking him off on that left wing on the far side. And if the midfield can spot that, as Canning goes in to challenge, and Clark is there.
Keep working, lads. Keep steady. Send the wings. Wally's here. Keep working, boy.
Cavalier to Mooley. Little flick on by Harbither. Cavalier gets a nice ball. Steinman. Steinman has 3 strikers in the circle. He'll look for the penalty corner. Goes the other way. And again, the square ball, as Cook tries to thump it down with too much pace on that. A wasted effort.
Yeah, the Swiss allowed the attack down the right-hand side with Steinman because Liam Canning didn't come back from his left-wing position, so allowed an extra man to come up and support.
That's the Cork goalkeeper on the right of your picture, and the substitutes and the Dutch coach, of course. And the new Irish sweeper, perhaps, in possession. McAnulty gone from midfield, or to midfield. Harbither. Second or third time they've brought it through midfield by passing rather than hoisting. Bircher now being chased by Dowd. Bircher was in the circle, gets it back in. The Irish regroup. Good defence from Cook. Sloan is there for the loose ball. No, that's a poor effort from Sloan. It allows Steinman pump one in. Well, just off the foot. Slack work really, and a little lapse of concentration by the captain.
Yeah, certainly Switzerland showing that if they're allowed to play, they can play. And we said earlier on that when they get into the opposition 25, they are very sharp in around the circle. Good defensive play there by Alan Dowd and Greg Sturr just to recapture that situation, recover that situation.
They were 11th, by the way, in Paris. We finished 7th in the last Europeans. So we're on the halfway line. Still no score. And if it finishes that way, it won't do our chances any good at all. Sloan loses it. Now that's picked up by Feaster. Feaster touches a nice one on for Harbither. Just a little too fast. But he's prepared to run, his young Harvester. Cook having trouble now as they put a press on him. Harbither again. Dowd with them. And Ireland fortunate to get that free. And it didn't go, it went the other way. And they weren't 5 yards, says the umpire. He has his hands in the air at the Irish goal. warning them they must be 5 yards. That's the question. That's the man. From Trinidad, Rogerson Rose. So a rolling sub law brings on Pfister, but on the ball is Cavalier. Pfister now settle for a corner.
Short, lads. Come on, tune in.
That's Sloan, not having his best game so far. Free out to Ireland.
Ireland, I think, will be looking to Marty Sloan to talk a little bit more. The Irish players are very quiet on the pitch. Nobody really is taking the lead responsibility to say, yeah, give me the ball. I want to take the game to Swiss. You can see how much they do rely heavily on Jimmy Kirkwood to play that role.
Well, I'm sure Coppler is aware of that. Hopefully he'll read your thoughts, if not hear your words. He'll surely come on as Canning and Taylor try to close down the full back. So the Swiss slowing down the game. And Ireland falling for it. Cavalier goes wide. Ball is moving. Another free to Switzerland. They're getting closer to the circle. Steinman, and with him Heller. Heller threads it. Clark breaks away. He has Sloan with him. Sloan should pass the midfield. Sloan runs into it, gets feet. Difficult to know whether to try and beat your man or look for the free, but that's what he did. "20 minutes gone as Ireland hoist one for Clark. Plays with Garvey again, the team that very nearly made the Irish Cup their own. Fortunately, they lost their winning sequence. Not everybody approves of that comment.
Is it Jimmy Kirkwood there? I'm sure he's hoping he's going to get on at some stage, but Ireland, I would have thought, would be looking to win this game comfortably without him so as they can rest for Sunday. European hockey certainly is very much a squad game. Players playing 7 matches in 10 days, that can take quite a lot out of you. So you've got to utilise all 16 players.
Cook carries it over the halfway line, should take it himself. He has some space on the right. Still Cook thumps it into the circle. Canning gets a stick to it. McAnulty is there. A little bit slow, McAnulty, that time, waiting for a whistle, I think. As the Swiss come over the halfway line now. Schmidli, number 10, infield to Bircher. Bircher claims he was fouled. Goes the other way. Crowd approve of that. Now, Sturrett looks for Clark. Clark getting a hard time from his marker, but his marker's holding his head, so maybe it's 1-1. Across the circle, just behind Ali Dunn on the edge of the circle. Dowd. So Ali Dunn, Cork C of I, not getting the feed that he was hoping for, I'm sure, looking for his second goal in the green jersey. The way it's going today, he's not going to get it. Sturrett and Clark. Picked up in midfield by McAnulty. Now, can he run around the defence? He lays it on for Clark, who's marked, as I told you, by Steinman, and well marked. That's better. A little bit of urgency in that. Taylor lays it across to the captain. McAnulty has it. McAnulty tries to turn. And surely the advantage should have been played there. The Swiss were on a great break. A strange decision by the Welsh umpire.
Yeah, one of the features of this tournament so far is the good advantage played by the umpires.
Bircher versus Cook. Halfway line. Mooley. Little nutmeg. Got to get your feet out of the way, of course. Fishback. Advantage again. No, it's just a little bit slow. Game a little bit slow. Burns for Ireland with the free. Man-to-man marking in midfield, as your pictures probably show you. Burns takes it himself. Taylor sees Cook free on the right. Canning moves into the circle. Canning is with him. Good tackle. Canning challenges. Fearless player. Goes through the sandwich, goes through another sandwich, rolls the wrist, still Canning. He's in the circle, that's first class hockey. Can he get it across? Good goalkeeping and scooped away too. Brilliant play by Canning, but Ireland still on the attack now. Burns should pump it in. Burns misfires and the whistle goes for offside.
Yeah, Liam beating about 3 players in there, managed to get the ball across, and again, just missing the Irish stick of Clark, and the Swiss managed to clear the ball again.
Full marks to Muller in goal, though. He saw what was happening and he was in the right place at the right time. Yet again, they test the Irish back 3, particularly that man wearing the 13 jersey, but it's over the line. So while Sturridge is playing well at the back, let's say that his accuracy of delivering is not quite up to the standard perhaps of the Corkmans. Maybe he'll improve as the game goes on, but Byrne, I think, more likely to find the midfield.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of responsibility on the guys at the back at the moment, just to try and get the ball, good quality ball, into the midfield. But one of the other things they may try and do is to get certainly the wing halves forward in Neil Cook and Ger Burns. At the moment, Ireland trying to play down the middle quite a lot, and I'd like to see them play the ball certainly to Neil Cook, who had a very good first game at right half.
Midfield attack. Schmidli. Heller. Heller, does he keep it in? No, he doesn't. Not for want of trying. So that's Marcus Heller. 72nd cap in Dublin. A lot of pace on that one, but a good trap. Now can Sturridge create something? Touched on by Taylor for McAnulty, who again has switched wings. So a game that suits the Swiss. It's not being played at the aggressive pace the Irish have been used to in recent weeks, and whatever they're doing, they're slowing down the Irish. Maybe, as Stephen says, we need Kirkwood out there, ebullient, aggressive. No prisoners taken with Jimmy. Now watch what happens. No one free, that's fair enough. Bad pass. And unfortunately, a slow hand clap. That won't do the Irish morale any good, but that's the way it is. As Sloan threads one on for the only man who's really trying. Canning. It's Fishback. Cook. Dummy. Good dummy. Little let through. Looking for feet again. Play on, says the umpire. Now, a few options there for Sturridge. Ali Dunn takes it. Gives it to Cook. Canning in front of him. Captain in midfield. Still Cook. Now surely a cross from Cook could bring something. Plays it across. It should be a goal. Well, I think it was Canning who put it over the bar. Difficult to see what happened.
That's what we were talking about earlier. Neil Cook getting around the back, getting up in the attack, keeping his stick on the ball, finding a lovely pass in. And Liam Canning, I think the keeper got a touch of that just to put it over the bar.
You're absolutely right, that's what happened. But it was a missed chance. Sent in again by Cook. Penalty corner, deliberately. First penalty corner of the match as Daniel Clark walks to the back line. Taylor, number 15 on the left of your picture, probably the man to strike. That's Clark. His delivery has to be clean. And the stick stop from Ireland's number 5, Cook, has to be clean. And again, watch that sprint from the goal line. The switch, Canning again over the bar. Misunderstanding off the defence, but Canning looking at his man and throwing his eyes up to heaven. Not quite working for them. They get the corner, but Cook. More revs on this one, I think. That's the way to put it in. No, he's raised it. Well, you shouldn't be raising them at that level, but it can happen.
Yeah, it can, especially if you try and force the ball in, playing a little bit harder. But what the last little bit of phase of play, it's nice to see Neil Cook getting up in attack. We also, I think, need to get Gerard Burns up on the left-hand side, taking a little bit of responsibility to put the Swiss under a little bit more pressure. Short, close passing.
Dowd is tackled and loses. Bircher. With Bircher is Cavalier, the captain. 1-2. Dowd. Again, we're too slow to take those frees. The Swiss fall back and mark their men. Nice play from Cavalier. Such a tall man, he can transfer the weight at pace. There's the man we're relying on, Canning. 5 minutes left in this first half. And Ireland have yet to score, as have Switzerland. And surely a different pattern of play will emerge in the second half when Koppler has finished talking to them. Dowd. That's where it breaks down. Taylor. Taylor finds McAnulty. McAnulty finds the marking of Grandchamp, but the ball finds the touchline. "16-yard hit to Ireland." I don't blame him for looking down. He must be somewhat dejected. Not a good performance so far from his team. What to do? Clark again. Clark raises the head. Unusual situation, you know, at hockey at this level. Only one penalty corner and the half is almost up.
Yeah, certainly for the amount of possession that Ireland have had, they haven't really got into the opposition circle on more than 4 or 5 occasions. The game has basically been played between the 25s, where the Swiss have got quite a lot of players.
Now, can Cook carry it himself? Can he beat the challenge? Elects to pump to Clark. Clark gets possession this time. Clark has the pace. Clark should deliver just about now. He does! And it's ballooned by Dunn. Well, the last time Dunn got a chance in the circle, he slid in and scored, but that time it was all wrong.
Yeah, it's just a case of trying to get one of these in. Dan Clark does well to get around the back yet again. Ali Dunn may have done better just to actually control that ball and take it in a little bit further around than the first time shot.
But he didn't. Halfway line. Swiss using the right wing. Get feet off Dowd. No, says the umpire, deliberate, played on. And that's a 16-yard to Switzerland. There's the man who's telling somebody else where they should be when he has possession and where he wants to be when they have possession. Great tactician. Once more, The high ball. Stir it. Stutz and stir it. And Cook. Stir it again. Not really finding his man. Just 2 minutes left in this first half. And I wonder, will Stirrett be sweeping for the second half? Or will Burns come back? Or am I being too harsh? Dowd. Stirrett.
I think you may see a few changes in the second half. They shouldn't have to bring Jimmy Kirk on to stir things up a bit, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Liam Canning seems to be the only player out there chasing everything, trying to get the others going. The Irish team are playing at a very pedestrian pace. No great sense of urgency.
I don't think I've ever seen as many aerial balls in an international hockey match. And that's an unforced error, uncharacteristic of Ger Burns. But there has been a lot of head lifting by the Irish. I hope they don't think it's a practice match for Sunday against England. That's the worst possible way to approach a game. Cabalet. Harberther. Out comes the keeper. Geddes saw it happening. No real danger for him, but he was right to move forward. Another chance in. Taken out by Dowd. Now Dunn surely can carry it himself. Puts it behind Canning. Not the best place. Canning turns. Gets possession. Threads it through. Not a great ball. The stick of Grandchamp saw what was happening. So it's just not working. And a free to Ireland with just about 20 seconds or thereabouts left in this first half. Dowd. Clark on a little run. Clark well tackled as we await the sound of the hooter. Ball is raised, and the Irish team will certainly have to raise their performance if we're to go away happy this evening. And the dugout very unimpressed, as are we and as are you. So at half-time, a disappointing performance, and the faces of the Irish players show you just how disappointing it was, as does that scoreline. We'll be back after the break.
So 0-0 at half-time between Ireland and Switzerland. Really something of a disappointment. What do you think, Kenny? They're not playing very well, are they?
No, they certainly aren't playing very well. I'm very disappointed with the way that they're playing. I'm sure that the guys will be sitting in the changing rooms at this time, and if their backsides aren't red, their ears certainly will be. Case Coplar will be giving a lot of verbals, I'd say.
Yes, because they really have had chances, and there have been a few wasted ones, haven't there?
Yes, indeed. They have had plenty of chances. They could be 2 or 3 up at this stage. Here's an example where we have McAnulty getting around the back, comes across, misstopped, then it comes across, Dan bobbles over his stick, Nulty gets it again. I mean, it's frustrating. There's a calamity of errors here. The first one, if this had been killed dead, it could have been into the back of the net. It wasn't. Chance was lost. Comes across. Oh, it's there again. Dan misses it. I think he drops to his knees in total frustration. That was only the start. There were many more of those.
Yeah, you sort of feel that the forwards aren't really doing their job, don't you?
Not really. Liam Canning seems to be showing up well at the moment. Dan had a little bit of a spurt at the end of the half there. But it's not just the forwards. The defence playing fine. Midfield aren't playing at all well. I mean, Marty really is giving the ball away a lot. Robbie Taylor and Ali Dunn's not in the game, so really we're talking about the front 6. We're playing with one player nearly in the front 6 on song.
Yeah, because it's not as if the Swiss are playing all that well either, though they have made at least one good save. They've had to.
Yes, indeed, they have made a good save, and it needed to happen at that time. We had Alan Dowd coming into midfield to show them how to pass the ball. Dan Clark, it's a great Clark, and a volley. Up we go. I mean, any other day that could have been in the back of the net and Ireland in the front. Here we go again. Watch Dan. The ball's out in front of him. Diving reverse stick cross. Beautiful. David McAnulty coming in for a volley and a good save. Keeper's excellent reflexes there.
What do you reckon the story is about Jimmy Kirkwood? Do you think he's badly missed and will be in for the second half?
Yes, I think Jimmy really has to come in now. The notion of giving him a rest for the England game I think should be long but dispelled. England doesn't matter at this particular stage. This game has to be won if they're going to have any change out of the England game.
Yeah, because as you were saying, we're really just dependent at the moment on Liam Canning and his skill.
That's right. Liam has had a few very darting runs. He's proven that he can get in behind the defence. Here we look at a lovely run. Watch this, the first man. There's two guys in front of him. Whoop, over he goes, past him, cuts inside, fourth man, and you come into the byline. There's the fifth one. He's in behind him as well. I mean, we've got that sort of skill sitting on the bench as well through Jimmy Kirkwood, and that's his position. Let's have another look at that. It's beautiful. Little lift over there, past the first two, cut inside. Next one, suck you in two. Over we go, in round the back, and then I'll get a cross in. And there's nobody on the end of it. I mean, it was a lovely ball. Lovely ball in. So as I say, Jimmy can really do that probably 5-6 times in the game, get round the back line, and hopefully we'll get somebody on the back end of it.
Yeah, because when you're as dependent as they are at the moment on Liam Canning, then if you're going to have a miss, then it seems so tragic. I mean, he did have a miss as well.
He did indeed. I think he wasn't the only one that was guilty, but here we see coming round the back. Liam stops it in front of goal, should really put it in the onion bag, allows the defender to get a tackle in. Just not sharp enough really at that stage, and it's not like him because he has been very, very sharp for most of this game. He comes in here, gets it stopped. He should be really lifting this over them, doesn't make the right contact. The chance is wasted.
It leaves you to wonder what on earth will they do if the Swiss start playing, well, doesn't it?
Well, it doesn't look as though the Swiss really want to play. What they're doing is throwing long overhead balls, and the Irish have no difficulty in coping with that at the back. Greg Sterrett's having a great game. Neil Cook's very, very solid. Ger Burns at left half. It's no problem to them if they could just get the boys up front to start playing. I mean, I would give them a good kick at the backside. That's what I think they need.
Kenny Morris says, get your act together.
Indeed, I think it's... let's hope that it changes now. Hopefully we'll see Kirkwood coming on. Bit of change, maybe a bit of inspiration, and a couple of goals.
OK, well, we'll see if they do get their act together after this break. Ireland against Switzerland, quite a disappointment so far. One thing about it, Kenny, we were saying that Ivan Bateman wasn't playing, probably because Coppola wanted to give Raymond Geddes a bit of a run, but what good is today so far?
Well, I think having looked at the first half, both goalkeepers nearly could have sat on the bench and it wouldn't have made any difference. Nevertheless, I'd have to say that being in the goals, being active, he's in the tournament now. That is the difference. But I think, what was there, one kick possibly? I mean, that was the only time they threatened. Raymond Geddes certainly won't feel as though he's earned his corn today. No, well, neither have midfield in their own sense either, have they? You're very disappointed with the Irish midfield. Yes, indeed. That's really where I think that the engine room really should be happening. Marty Sloan in the middle and Robbie Taylor in particular, quite uncharacteristically, are giving the ball away. I mean, to these players that they should be so much better than. They're being dispossessed. And Ali really hasn't shown up either. Hopefully we're going to see those guys coming out a little bit more determined, and in case Coppola really gives them a good whipping at half-time, maybe we'll see men possessed. Well, let's just see if they're going to actually play Jimmy Kirkwood this afternoon. I think they're back out on the pitch for the second half. Be interesting to see whether or not he is in the lineup. Let's go back to John Kerwin and Stephen Martin.
Let me tell you, Caroline, the bad news is that they're not going to play Jimmy Kirkwood, not at this juncture anyway. And also, I have a bone to pick with Kenny Morris. He says Sterrett is having a great game at sweeper. That he is, but under no pressure, he's not finding anybody in midfield.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that, John, and he's very safe at the back, but he's under really no pressure. What I'd like to see him do is try and get Neil Cook to push up on the right-hand side, because at the moment the Swiss have only got 2 players against our 4 defenders. We can afford to throw another defender forward, still leaving 3 back. Because Neil is the sort of guy who has shown in the first half he can get up and support, link up with his midfield and his forwards, but hopefully Coppola has given the Irish players a good kick up the backside and told them just to get on with it. You dig yourselves out of the trouble. You shouldn't have to have one special player coming on to help you. Get out of it yourselves.
All right, well, we'll never know what he said until perhaps later on tonight, but let's hope it works as the match restarts. No goals scored as yet. And Ireland, remember, on Sunday meeting England as Clark breaks away and Ireland get the first free of the second half. And the sun is shining. Perhaps it's an omen. Cook comes up. Pops it in at a red stick. Arbiter controls it in midfield. Oh, what's a good ball. Problems now for the reserve goalkeeper. What to do? He did it right. But still, Switzerland have possession. McAnulty can take on 2. Gets help from Cook. And Ireland get the free. Dowd. Now, Sturridge. To Cook. Swiss going at the back three. Dowd is in the middle of the back at the moment, where Sturridge was for most of the first half. Sturridge back in the middle. Right. Rolling subs and rolling sweepers. That's Dowd. Taylor. Good player, Taylor, but a bad delivery from Taylor. Again, picked up by Harbither. Laid on for the attack, which breaks down. But the free goes to Switzerland, quickly taken. And the umpire unhappy. That's a pity. Stopping the flow of the game. There has to be a certain leeway. Fischbach. Back to Grandchamp. This time, the captain has it. Rides the tackle well. Canning now. Can he drift around? Good challenge from the full-back in the red shirt. Again, the umpire slowing it down a little. Burns. Dowd. The sweeper. The hard man. And McAnulty failing to stop that one. Good ball it was too from Cook.
Yeah, a little bit more sense of urgency around the back four. They're trying to play the ball quickly around the back to try and get the ball forward. In that case, nice ball down the line by Neil Cook, but David McAnulty's first touch still letting him down, even though we've played over 35 minutes.
And McAnulty today gets his 50th cap as Clark goes into the centre and is deemed to be offside. Not he, but Canning. Clark was there in possession. That's the man who gave the cross, but it was Liam Canning, the number 4, who had strayed offside there.
Yeah, in this situation, I think what we need from Ireland now, just to, rather than playing crosses in, because they're not really being very effective, is to try and win something, maybe win a penalty corner, build up the pressure that way. So slow down a little bit when they enter the circle, try and find a foot.
Taylor found a foot that time. That's Taylor, 15, the man who scored twice against the Netherlands. Never forget that. That's Canning, 1-1. Well, off the feet. And the umpire unhappy with Canning's remark, whatever it was. Normally it's the pupil who answers the teacher, but this time the teacher, I think, answered back.
Certainly Liam's not too short of a few words, that's for sure. Most umpires in Leinster League will tell you that.
Well, he's got his comeuppance from our friend from Trinidad. He got his card, he's still on, but he's under scrutiny now, let's say. Difficult pupil for the umpire. Dowd. Loose ball. Goes through the tackle, advantage. Whistle goes, quickly taken. Cavalier. So again, the umpire stopping play. Ireland in disarray, appealing, and that's a bad way to be. Take it and take up your defensive positions. Don't argue. That's all we want now is a goal in the second half. So early, Geddes on his knees, trying to see where the ball is. Delaying tactics, Geddes being warned, and a little bit of bumping. And a penalty corner has been awarded against Dowd. Dowd using the elbow.
Yeah, I see here Alan Dowd putting an elbow into the Swiss forward, needlessly giving away a penalty corner, putting Ireland under pressure. It's the last thing they need at this stage in the game, John.
Oh, it's the very last thing we need. As Harbither from the back line will deliver the goods. Watch for the clean stick stop. There's the stop, there's the switch, there's the shot in, another chance and an opportunity missed. He was on the ground, but Glaser, number 6, had a great chance to put that away and failed. Now Daniel Clark under pressure, cat and mouse with him. And a corner. So, right at the start of the second half, the Swiss got the better talking to from their coach. They thread one through, looking for a penalty corner, and they get it deliberately over the line. The second penalty corner in less than 2 minutes, and yet again to the back line goes the grasshopper player, Harbither, number 3. Now, you watch that Irish sprint from the goal line, because it's critical they get out to block the attack.
Go.
The sweeper is ready. Grandchamp, the shot in. Out comes the attack, or the defence rather, off the feet.
And Ireland have a chance to break as well.
As Taylor goes down the right wing. Still Taylor in possession, calling for it in midfield. McAnulty, 1-2 to Taylor. Canning is in the circle. If he can send it across, he does. And Canning gets his stick, but it goes behind the line. And that was beautiful hockey. And the first time we've seen the forwards at full pace.
Nice counter-attacking move there from the breakdown to the penalty corner. Alistair Dunn well eased the ball into the circle, and in fact lucky to come away with a long corner because the ball was raised into the circle.
So now the Swiss counter-attack. Taken up in midfield. The Irish sweeper beaten that time as Canning tries to get back to Mark Gazzer. Gazzer sends it in midfield. In the circle again, out comes the goalkeeper and kicks it well away. Geddes doing what he had to do yet again.
At least at this stage, John, the game seems to be opening up a little bit.
Now on the circle, taken out by Ireland. Clark trying to get it over the halfway line. Clark 1-2. Breaks down, unfortunately. Laid on in midfield now by the Swiss. Running onto that is Heller. And Harbither, number 3, sends it across. It was raised. Dowd trying to build. Cook. Still Cook. Dowd again, but it's 2-1. Dunn. No real contact. Burns goes against the school teacher, gritting his teeth, having a bad time. Nice to see him get a goal.
Deserves a goal today, John, because he's put a lot of effort in.
He'll get some sticks from his pupils if he doesn't. Stirrett. Taylor. Sloan. Cook. More pace needed on the right wing. Ball, good one too for Clark, but too much pace. So maybe the name of the game is to move the ball up that wing. Stevenson is on the rolling substitution law. He's got speed as Stirrett deals with that one. Schmiedley and Stirrett. Well done. Gets his free. A little bit of, well, we'll say nothing about that. Clark's man fell to the ground, but Sloan goes away. Threads it forward for Clark. This time Clark has the pace. Clark sends it across, not a particularly inspired ball, taken out by Grandchamp. Cat and mouse again. Stevenson with the fresh legs, prepared to do Jules, number 14. Not everybody else that interested. Stevenson does well. Stevenson threads it through to Clark. Clark unfortunately loses it. Sloan appeals, number 12, but in vain. Sloan looking a little tired.
Yeah, he is looking a bit tired. His mouth hanging open there. I don't know whether at the moment Ireland might want to put Robbie Taylor in there just to try and grab the game by the scruff of the neck.
Stirrett. 10 minutes gone in the second half. We're still scoreless as Dunn goes forward. Clark again. The right wing appears to be the ploy indeed. Clark puts on the brakes, stops Mooley, lays it back. In it comes, and an opportunity surely for Canning to get it in. And offside again. And Canning hangs down his head. What have I got to do?
Clark plays the ball to Neil Cook. A good first time cross into the circle, putting the Swiss under pressure. Martin Sloan fails to control it. Ball nearly falls to Liam Canning, but the Swiss clear it.
Dowd takes it down. Cook. Back infield to Dowd. Dowd challenges, but it's whipped away from him by Gazer, his opposite number. And he in turn finds Schmidli. Schmidli puts on the brakes. Sends a good ball out to the right. Problems now if Gazer can get this across, which he does. And it should go in, and it didn't. Well, what an opportunity. Ball had been raised, the whistle didn't go. But by boy, there was a chance for Switzerland to open the account.
You see here, nice first time shot. Neil Cook does well actually in that situation to get a bit of pressure on, because he could easily have got that full on the side.
Schmidli, number 10, the man who missed that. Another opportunity, number 12, and trouble for Geddes in goal. Good play by the Swiss and good defence by Sloan, coming back to give the rearguard a hand. But where these attacks are coming from in the last few minutes is a worrying aspect. Irish midfield seems to have collapsed. They're coming through. We'll see what happens. Sloan. Stevenson blocked. Whistle doesn't go. Back to Grandchamp. Nice ball. Could have been trapped by the midfield player. That's a good ball for Canning. But it's 2-1 on Canning again. Shakes off one. Finds Clark. Clark touches it too far forward. The bench frustrated. The crowd frustrated. And I'm sure the team.
Nice switch of play there by Liam Canning. Finds Daniel Clark, and only on this occasion, when you really want him to get a good first touch, get into the circle, his first touch lets him down. Really, at this level, John, you've if you see all the other teams here, the forwards have been very, very sharp, and coming into this tournament, Ireland knew that they were maybe slightly weaker in that department, but they've got to get on with it, try and get a good first touch, try and get the ball into the circle.
They do this time, but the ball had been raised as the umpire to Daniel Clark. Very astute. No, he's having none of that. But certainly the ploy seems to be to use the right wing and to use Daniel Clark, who despite his very, very tall stature and deceiving gait is one of the fastest men out there. Aerial for Dowd. The bombardment of the back three, and off the foot, I think, of Taylor, but it was let go. Advantage to Switzerland. Switzerland trying to turn Taylor. Taylor forces him back to his sweeper, Grandchamp. Hoberther. And we win a ball in midfield for a change. Clark now threads it through for Sloan. Mooley sees what's happening. Sweeper takes over. Oh, this is another one. Now watch the Irish build up from here. Dunn. Midfield. Takes on two. Runs into one. And Ireland weak now. As Hoberther comes through into the circle. And well let through by Burns, number 3.
Yeah, nice bit of play by Gerard, just letting the ball travel across his body over for the sideline hit.
Taylor again for Clark, switching wings. Not well, he is prepared to run, and he gets it back for Canning. They get the line ball, so full marks for Clark. And the Irish crowd appreciate that. First bit of sweat as they saw it. Free to Switzerland. But that was Ireland doing its very, very best to catch that ball. Maximum effort from Clark and from Canning. And it hasn't been 100% so far from everybody out there in the green shirt.
Irish sides, no matter what sport they play, John, the first thing you expect is 100% commitment. That can sometimes make up for any lack of technical ability. We haven't seen much commitment today.
The breakdown. Heller. Dowd should deal with that. Dowd versus Harbither. Dowd wins the duel. Stevenson, the fresh legs. Sloan, the tired legs. Sloan, the skillful legs. Good tackle. Picked up by another. Switched out to Canning on the left. Canning turns his man. Gets the free. Off the feet. Now surely they can work it in or pump it in. It looks like pump time. Burns is there. The Cork CFI man. The umpire tries to suck them back to 5 yards. That's requisite. That's gamesmanship by Switzerland. Now Burns blasted. He does. It's in the goal. He's not giving it. He's not giving it. He's giving it.
Yeah, St. Rose consulted Gallivan at the halfway line, and he's happy that it's a goal for Ireland. So Ireland take the lead, 1-0.
Well, that's an extraordinary situation. Here you see it again.
Burns crashes the ball this time all along the ground. I'm not too sure whether that came off an Irish stick.
Well, can we see it again? The Swiss are debating it on the pitch, but let's have a look at it again.
It's debatable. It looks like as if it came off the Swiss defender's stick.
So Taylor's going to be credited with the ball, with the goal rather. But there'll be a lot of talk about that one tonight in the campus and surrounding alehouses. One more look.
Yeah, I think it's fairly clear from that angle that the ball did come off the Swiss defender's stick. But in this situation, you take it, you accept it, and you get on with the game.
So now, on the run, Bircher. More problems now. Sloan. Clark. Sloan again to Taylor. Taylor opts out of that. So the controversial goal, the only one of the match thus far, has been accredited to Taylor.
Yeah, maybe Robbie got a stick on the ball just before the Swiss defender put a stick on it to go into the roof of the net. If it hadn't touched Taylor's stick, normally the procedure is that if it comes off the defender's stick at the first touch of the circle to go into the goal, it should be a long corner.
Now, Swiss offside. Feeling very hard done by. Now Stevenson. Done at pace as well, but a good challenge from Grandchamp, having a splendid game at sweeper for Switzerland. Carries it all the way down the half, deep into the Irish half. And the stick of Cook denies him his final run. Sturdy player at the back is Cook. 37th cap today. Just 10 yards outside the circle. Geddes shouting instructions in the Irish goal. Burns goes in on him. And penalty corner. Feet in the circle. So now the set piece from the Swiss. 20 minutes gone. Ireland leading by a goal. On comes Fisker. To the back line goes Gazer. As Geddes and company prepare in goal for the penalty corner, the premature break. Stevenson and Geddes
Okay, lads, concentrate
A
again.
little uneasy, break prematurely.
Ready.
The sweeper will probably strike the dummy. The sweeper tries to hoist it in. It goes off the glove of the goalkeeper. Corner. Good save. Good dummy. They won't delay time with the corner. They're in again. They push it into the circle. Sterrett tries to take it out. A shot at goal. Brilliantly saved again, but jumping with the sticks. And the free quickly taken by Ireland as we try and break away on the right. Done now for Ireland. Surely a chance to gain ground before they regroup, but it breaks down.
Brendan Geddes showing that he's not taking the number 2 position lightly. He wants to play in the next game, so performances like that, he may well be in there.
So too does Stevenson as he goes down the right wing. But the Swiss defence, so far, up to anything the wingers have thrown at them. Now a chance for Sloan. Sloan robbed, claims it was feet, looks very hard at the umpire, gets the decision. For a moment it looked like he wasn't going to get it. He had his hands on his hips, Marty Sloan. The number 12 thought, I think, that it wasn't going to go his way, but we have forced a penalty corner as Daniel Clark's task is to deliver it. And the man wiping his brow at the top of the circle is Taylor, number 15. Several options. They can switch, they can shoot, they can lob, they can do that, they can do that, they can do that, and they can lose it. Oh well, too much, too smart, too often.
I think the push-out number, the first of all there, John put them off because it wasn't out directly. They then had to start compensating, and once they started to make one pass and then another pass, they eventually got themselves into trouble.
McAnulty tips it too far forward. A little bit untidy in midfield. Swiss claiming they're being blocked and obstructed, and they get the free. Stutz. That was intended for Gazer. Burns and Sterrett. Good stop on the halfway line by Steinman, the goal scorer against Poland. That's the Irish captain. Sloan takes on 2. 1 too many. No, he gets what he wanted. No, he doesn't. It goes the other way. A little bit more fire in the Swiss midfield. Cook tries to close him down. Oh, good ball. Reverse stick, a chance of a shot. Excellent effort. They get the penalty corner off the feet of the Irishman. They're coming forward now with aggression into the circle. Got the penalty or corner off the foot.
Come on, come on, come on.
Yeah, we said before the game started that the Swiss, once they get into the 25-yard line, once they get up at that stage, they come alive, and they're very, very good at trying to get work, something, winning corners, getting shots on goal.
And this is their 4th penalty corner in the second half. Harberther, the captain, from the back line. Geddes for goal in Ireland. The switch, the shot, over his head and in. Brilliant goal. Geddes bit the dust a fraction too early. And Switzerland have pulled one back.
This time the Swiss elect for a straight shot over Geddes' stick and past Burns. He was well positioned on the line to take it off the line, but it's one each.
So now we have a battle on hands. That was a first-class penalty corner. No messing, no switching. And Geddes went down well. You're not allowed to go down, as you know, before the shot is taken, so it's touch and go. But Stevens is on a little break now. Stevens is in the circle, and the umpire says no. Accused him of obstruction. The pace hotting up a little bit. McAnulty now for Ireland. So, a corner comes in from Burns. It's been raised too high. So 1 goal apiece as McAnulty and Stevenson creep forward, trying to stop the attack, but they opt for the lob. Stir it again to Sloan. Burns comes up. McAnulty. Stevenson trying to work the 1-2 with him. The Swiss marking first class. Again, they're pumping it at McAnulty, at Sturridge rather. Clark on the halfway line. Sloan, 2 on Sloan. Clark, or rather Burns. Burns again. Sloan. Sloan looks for feet. The ball is slow to come to him. Poor service from the line. More ball boys required. Ger Burns. 5 yards and feet. They're creeping towards the circle. Muller in goal, looks anxious. Burns at pace in. Muller gets the foot to it, concedes a corner. In it comes again, an opportunity for Ireland. Comes in again and a chance, and struck off. McAnulty got the final shot off those 3, but it ricocheted off the defence stick, and they're on a counter-attack, but the whistle is gone. He had been awarded. And back it goes.
Ball comes into Ali Dunn, and Alan Dowd decides to get up into attack. Coolly plays the ball across the goal, and McAnulty balloons it over the bar.
Cabalet doing well in midfield for Switzerland. That's going nowhere. Got to be in the circle, remember, before you can score the goal. 16-yard hit to Ireland. Now watch what happens from here on. Burns has it. Closed down immediately. Stevenson can't contain it. Support from McAnulty. Sloan goes forward. Sloan looks for the free, gets it. As the ball goes over the roof of the stand on the far side of the stadium, another one comes on. Now Sloan. Burns calls for it, but he gives it to Dunn. Dowd. Dowd tries to thread it through, but not good enough. Another 16-yard.
It's nearly worth at this stage having 4 up on the 25, because Ireland really do have to win this one. Alan Dowd put a little bit further forward.
Burns. McAnulty free. McAnulty being closed down. McAnulty looks for feet. Advantage being played. Stevenson for Ireland. Still Stevenson. Well, a bridge too far. He did try.
Yeah, Julian trying to do the right thing, trying to get in around the circle. What he's very good at in that position is was winning penalty corners, but the Swiss had too many men around him.
Yet to score a goal for Ireland as the number 14. Burns. Taylor. Back to Dowd. Cook calls for it. Stutz sees what's happening. Cook goes infield. Goes back to the touchline. Tackle from Stutz. Ali Dunn. Back to Dowd. You can sense the panic creeping into the Irish team now. Stevenson free against him. Burns, time for him to carry it forward perhaps. Dowd. 5 minutes. 1 goal apiece. That's the man who got his 50th cap today. David McAnulty. Burns. Frustrating sort of a game. Burns gets the free, the advantage having been played. Taylor. Taylor maybe should be going a little bit deeper, capable of scoring goals. Clark has a chance now, sends it in for Stevenson. Stevenson jumps, McAnulty slides.
Nice set play again. Overhead ball to Clark, who plays the ball in, but again, I think this time Stevenson makes his run far too early. Means the ball goes right behind him and misses the other Irish forwards as well.
Dowd in midfield to Sloan. Stevenson. Stevenson gets feet, surely. Time running out for Ireland. Controversial goal by Taylor. Cavalier hit back for Switzerland from the penalty corner, and it's 1-1, and that's no good to us. Now, hurry it up, Ireland. The other way, the umpire says. Change of a decision from the far end. As Switzerland come away, it's a 1-1. The Cork man in goal, it's going to be 2-1, and it is, and it's the wrong way. The counter-attack outfoxed the Irish.
My word, Ireland with every effort into attack, and they forgot to defend, leaving the Swiss at least a 3-on-1.
So a very serious scoreline. The time against us. It's the last thing we expected and the very last thing we wanted. Less than 3 minutes. Again, the counter-attack. Schmidty takes on 2 defenders, lays it back in, and just as well he pushed it too far forward.
Here we are, Swiss forward into the circle, and Stütz lifts it over Geddes and managed to get the ball on the other side, plays the ball into the net. But what were the Irish thinking about?
Well, they were asleep, to put it crudely and bluntly. Dunn goes forward. Dunn gets the free. The clock goes forward. Just over 2 minutes. And they really should stop the clock for these time-wasting tactics. Cook looking tired, pumps it in, it's raised. That's a pity. He raises his stick and acknowledging his error on the far side. Neil Cook knows that you've got to keep it down, particularly when there's only a minute and a half left. So 2-1 the scoreline. The match is all but over. And the great plans that Ireland had are in disarray. Burns. Taylor. Taylor takes on one too many. Support from Burns. Free goes the other way. That could go anybody's way now. 5 yards. They take it. The umpire allows play to go on. Just over a minute left. Not enough aggression. A lot of standing around. Stevenson. Nobody with him though. Still Stevenson. Still nobody with him. Still Stevenson. Stevenson trumps it and across and almost got inside the right upright.
Nice piece of play by Stevenson. Cuts inside, takes the bull by the horn, says, I'm going to do it myself. Goes to pass, decides to keep going. Unfortunately, that final shot just wide.
So we're on the countdown, I'm afraid. The scoreline, Ireland 1, Switzerland 2. Dowd to Byrne. Burns pumps it in. Clark is there, but it's cut out again by the sweeper, Grandchamp. Penalty as we hit the last 10 seconds. And on maybe the extremely warm weather of the last month, maybe the pressure of the European tournament being hosted in Dublin, I'm not sure what, but that hooter says that it's all over, that Switzerland have come to Dublin. Normally one would expect to beat the Swiss team, but it didn't work out that way. One goal from Taylor One goal from Cavalier from the penalty stroke, and then that goal from Stutz, and Switzerland have beaten Ireland by 2-1. A bad day here in Belfield, and a bad day for the boys on the bench. So, disappointment for everybody in Belfield except the boys who came from Switzerland to visit Dublin's fair city. Surprise, surprise, they have beaten Ireland at home by 2-1.
My goodness, Kenny, it was really disappointing, wasn't it?
Very disappointing. I'm quite shocked. I don't remember seeing an Irish team play as badly as that. I mean, that was really an awful performance. Awful.
So what do you think the story is? I mean, first of all, what's the story about Jimmy Kirkwood?
I don't know. I spoke to Jimmy last night. He didn't seem injured to me, but the only thing that I think must have kept him off the pitch could have been an injury. I mean, surely Case Coppler couldn't have seen an Irish team struggling for inspiration and keep Jimmy on the bench.
Yes, it might be a matter of principle, as you were saying earlier on, to keep him off for a while, but not to play him at all.
Maybe so. I just really don't know about that one. One player does not make a team. I would agree with Stephen Martin at half-time, but in this case, people do look to one of their most experienced players for something really special, and we never got that chance. And indeed, even to reinforce that, the only person who seemed to be really firing on all 4 cylinders up front was Liam Canning, and he was substituted, disappeared off the park. I mean, and then we were left struggling. Well, what are we going to do now? I mean, it wasn't happening.
And of course, one thing that happened too was we got a goal, but there's grave doubts about whether it was a goal at all. I mean, I think we can have a look at it again, and it's very questionable.
It's very iffy. Ger hits it in here. I mean, it's the number 9 from the Swiss team gets the edge on that quite clearly to me. And here it is. Look, there's the edge from number 9, straight past his own goalkeeper. Watch Roger St Rose from Trinidad here as well, the umpire. It's worth it seeing again. Watch the edge here. Look, there it's from the own player. The ruling on that is that no attacking player touched that ball inside the circle, therefore it should have been a long corner. The Trinidadian umpire, not surprisingly enough, gave the signal for a wide ball. Then we had Gallivan of Wales overruling him. So in actual fact, Trinidad got it right and Wales got it wrong.
Yeah, Wales did their best to do Ireland a favour, but then the Swiss got 2 goals. What a pity.
Indeed, I think Robbie claimed that goal, but I think if you talk to Robbie now, he'll probably tell you the truth, that he was well away from it.
Yeah. So of course the Swiss must be absolutely delighted. Let's just have a quick look at how they did score.
Yes, indeed. Here it is, pushed out, good corner, bang. I think Geddes has got to be a little bit disappointed with that. Ger Burns on the post should have stopped it. I mean, there's 2 there. Watch it, hooking over him.
Yeah.
You know, right round there. I mean, it went in on the post. Ger Burns is there to cover the post. It's a good strike. We can't take it away, but Ger's standing inside the post. It actually goes past his right foot. He'll be disappointed with that. Here we go again. As Stephen Martin and John said, what were they thinking of? I mean, throwing everything up front, left themselves wide open at the back. I mean, that was really naivety at its worst.
Yeah.
Well, you can see how happy the Swiss are there. I mean, they don't expect a result like this.
Yeah,
but they've got
stunned.
it. They are delighted. I mean, after the game we saw the Irish heads hung, and rightly so, and the Swiss are probably still celebrating as we're talking.
Yeah, what a pity. Anyway, we'll have to confirm the result, I'm afraid. It was Ireland 1, Switzerland 2. And another result that's pretty relevant to things in Pool B. In a game played this morning, Germany annihilated Belarus 9-0. How about that for coming back with a bang from the disappointment of losing their first match against England. So that all leaves the Pool B table looking like this. Ireland stay on 2 points along with Germany, England, Poland. Switzerland have moved up to 2 points as well. But of course England and Poland have yet to play. They're playing each other actually in about half an hour's time. Bringing up the rear, of course, is Belarus. So that's it then.